Welcome to the Chevy pregame show on Fox. Chevy, an American revolution. We are in Philadelphia, where it's been 28 years since the city was home to the world champions of baseball. It is Game 3 of the World Series with the Tampa Bay Rays and Philadelphia Phillies tied at 1 apiece. Rain is not going to keep us from playing baseball. First pitch expected at 10 p.m. Eastern as we get ready for Game 3. Please welcome Hall of Fame Phillies radio announcer Harry Callis.
The people of this city are ready. For 28 years, they have been ready.
Well, the Philadelphia Phillies are the world champions.
They have long cherished the role of underdog, and they cheer with passion because these teams, these games matter.
The city's been starving for a champion for the longest. This city would absolutely go crazy if we were to win.
I've heard a lot of fans say that they've waited a long time. Hopefully, this will be the year that we can bring it home.
They want us to win so bad, and they support us through everything.
It might be a good thing to win. I don't know. Rumor has it.
But tonight, they find themselves in a different role. They are not the underdog, and they face a team hungry to prove the baseball world wrong.
We turned on the TV, we saw people saying we wasn't going to do this, wasn't going to do that.
I think that kind of fueled our fire all the way up until this point.
Joe told us in the spring it didn't have to be 2 or 3 years from now. It could be right now. And I think we all believed in that.
With the series tied and now here in Philadelphia, who is ready to take the next step to lead this series and bring their city closer to a championship? They're as ready as they'll ever be. Game 3 of the World Series is next.
Yes, it is. The legendary Harry Callis, who knows better than anyone what tonight means. Welcome to Game 3 of the World Series. All right, so it's still raining. We're a little wet, but we are expecting first pitch at 10 p.m. Eastern. The fans of Philadelphia, they are still here. The tarp is off. The fans are waiting to see their first World Series game played in this city in 15 years. I am Jeannie Zalaska, joined by former Red Sox and Rangers manager Kevin Kennedy. Of course, the change of venue. We have a change of analyst. Eric Karros spent some memorable years with the Dodgers and the Cubs. You're getting it from the crowd here. The series has been great so far. We've had a little bit of everything and now rain. What does this mean?
Well, you know, I'm not surprised about this series being tied 1-1. Offensively, I thought there'd be a bit more, but this rain, I mean, it's been going on for hours. Players, you know, they want to play, and they're going to play at some point.
Yeah, I think it really affects the starting pitchers more than the everyday players. The starting pitchers have their routine. They like to know exactly when game time's going to be, and the rain start up again, and it's going to be pushed back a little bit. That's the biggest thing, especially for Jamie Moyer. I mean, this is his hometown. He grew up in this area. Very emotional about his first big league start in a World Series game, and so to me, that's the guy you got to worry about if you're the Phillies.
All right, speaking of Mr. Moyer, 28 years ago as a high school senior, young Jamie Moyer skipped class with his buddies to watch the 1980 Phillies celebrate a world championship firsthand. Tonight, the almost 46-year-old Jamie Moyer will make his first World Series appearance.
I think it'll be very special. Growing up here, watching the Phillies play as a kid, I still have a lot of memories of that. Now being on the flip side of that, it's going to be a very special moment.
Almost tearing up there a little bit. All right, Eric, it's a great story. It really is. But which Jamie Moyer will we see? The one who got 16 wins in the regular season, or the one who's been battered around this postseason?
Well, I'll tell you, the theme here in Philadelphia is hope and change. And we're not talking about politics at all. We're talking about hope. Jamie Moyer, be the guy that won 16 games for the Philadelphia Phillies and not the guy that in 2 starts a 13.5 ERA. Change, that's the pitch he needs tonight. He has got to throw the changeup well, get the Tampa Bay hitters to go out of the zone and go after it. If Tampa Bay goes up there, takes balls and swings at strikes, then Tampa Bay will be successful.
And Joe Maddon feeling pretty good as we look at the Rays and their rotation. It is so deep, it is so strong that he waited for Game 3 to pull out the LCS MVP.
Well, and Matt Garza came up big. I mean, won 2 games against the Boston Red Sox in the ALCS, including a Game 7. And when he got hurt early in the game on a Pedroia home run, he calmed himself down. He checked his emotions. He went out there and put 0. As a matter of fact, he would not come out of the game when Joe Maddon went out and wanted to see how he felt. He said, I'm not coming out of this one. That tells you about Matt Garza. As far as stuff, he's a power guy. 97 fastball, hammer for a curveball, good slider, good changeup.
And as he says, he just can't let his temper take over his talent. Okay, guys, before we move on to Game 3, let's look back to Game 2 and a great moment. The Chevrolet player of the game. Big game, James. Performance, everything Tampa Bay fans wished for and then some. Go to worldseries.com/Chevy Traverse for a look at the all-new Chevy Traverse and a chance to win a very special trip to the 2009 All-Star Game. We are in Philadelphia. We're just getting started. The rain's been with us for a while, but we're confident we're going to get some baseball in, and we'll have more from Philadelphia right after this. It's expected at 10 p.m. They're booing the fans here in Philadelphia because the boys have actually started to take the field. What happens tonight?
Well, you know, for me, Philadelphia has to get the offense rolling. We've talked about the struggles. 1 for 28 with runners in scoring position. What's ironic, that one hit didn't even score a run. But as Chase Utley, the second baseman, noted, hey, at least we're getting runners on. If Philly continues to get runners on, they will get that big hit. And I look for them to score these 3 games at home.
All right, Kevin, obviously with the change of venue, we're in a National League Park, no DH. I don't know that that matters so much to the Rays with the way Madden manages the club, but what can we expect?
Well, you know, they're not losing a David Ortiz-type player. Cliff Floyd's a nice hitter. There's no question about that. Willie Ibar, both those guys have been DHing so far in the postseason. But, you know, the pitcher hits. Mike Garza's not a great hitting pitcher, by the way. He's one of the worst. But, you know, it's all about getting the bunts down. And being out there on opening day and the workout day, they were working on bunt defense and playing small ball. Joe Madden's club plays a lot of small ball. They have power, but they also play a lot of small ball. And Joe Madden knows how to manage National League style.
Absolutely. So far, the World Series has delivered everything you've ever wished for, and then some. We're looking back to Game 2 here. Rays rookie David Price gave Tampa Bay fans everything they've ever wished for when the rookie took the mound. Remember, the 6th inning, he came in to finish out the game pretty much, securing the first ever World Series win in Tampa Bay franchise history. Will Rays fans continue to see moments they've always wished for? We'll soon find out. It's brought to you by Traverse, the all-new crossover from Chevy. It's everything you've ever wished for and then some. Still ahead on the Chevy pregame show. They're starting to break out the towels. Now, usually that's a rally cry, but I'm thinking tonight it's a convenient apparatus to have. More from the Chevy pregame show in Philadelphia. Game 3 in the World Series after this.
And welcome back to the Chevy pregame show on Fox. Chevy, an American revolution. And now welcome back to Philadelphia as we get ready for Game 3 of this World Series. You heard Jeannie and Kevin and Eric, and now you get to hear from Joe and Tim up here in our booth. I didn't think, to be honest, I would say 20, 25 minutes ago we were going to play this ball game, but it looks like with both pitchers, starting pitchers getting ready, we're going to get this thing in.
Yeah, I think they're going to start in about 15 minutes or so. It's very, very wet right behind the infield, and you know, you just don't know whether it's going to affect the play of the game, but one would think so.
Yeah, and they talked about it during our pregame show. These are 2 starting pitchers. They were very interesting to look at when we went down to visit the managers and walked around the clubhouses. You had Matt Garza, who was walking around like a caged lion getting ready, and then we saw Jamie Moyer, who was literally sitting inside his locker with his feet up, pressed up against the side of his locker. The 45-year-old was just kicking back.
Well, I mean, you don't know whether that's going to affect both pitchers early, particularly Garza, because he's very, very emotional. And if I'm the Phillies, I think you play off something like that and perhaps take more often in the early innings more than you would normally.
Yeah, it was a situation earlier in the year for Matt Garza where he was trying to get those emotions under control. And so for a guy who's obviously facing his first start in the World Series, I think you bring up a good point. I mean, I think you have to make him work and see what he brings. You would expect that Jamie Moyer would be a little bit more composed, maybe, here in the early going after this very long delay.
Yeah, I would think so, but if Garza's throwing strikes, it could be a long night for the Phillies.
Let's continue as we get ready for the first pitch and send it down to Ken Rosenthal. Ken?
Jamie Moyer is 45 years old, and his age is a running joke among the Phillies, and Moyer himself. He told pitching coach, no matter what time we start, the van for the folks leaves at 11, and I've got to be on it. Back to you, Joe.
Yeah, and you know, we could hear part of that. We could hear part of that report, and Jamie Moyer saying, the van for the old folks home leaves at 11 no matter what time we start. But I think it's very easy for fans who have watched the postseason and who have watched Jamie Moyer's 2 Game 3 starts to say this guy can't pitch anymore. That's not the case. This is a 45-year-old left-hander, yes, but he's a left-hander that won 16 games in the regular season, and Tim, literally down the stretch, he was probably the most consistent starter that Charlie Manuel had.
Well, we're going to talk about it as long as he is in there. Obviously, he does not have Matt Garza stuff, but he has to be very fine outside the right-handed batters, and that is the key.
We talked about Matt Garza and him being pumped up. This is right before he went out to warm up. He's had the iPod and the headphones in his ears really since early this afternoon. So the eardrums are probably being pounded on right now for Matt Garza, but he is getting ready for tonight's start in his own special little way. So we continue here, and these fans have been in for a long night as well. These fans have been arriving since, I think they opened the gates around 5:30 or 6. These fans have been pumped up. This is the first World Series game here in Philadelphia since 1993. The last one went very well for the Phillies and their fans when Curt Schilling pitched against the Toronto Blue Jays and threw a 5-hitter, allowing just 5 singles in a 2-0 win. Then you know what happened the rest of that series. It went back to Toronto. Joe Carter hit that big home run in Game 6, and the Toronto Blue Jays ended up winning the World Series. We not only have Ken Rosenthal at our disposal, we also have Chris Myers with us. Chris, what's going on?
Joe and Tim, down in the Rays dugout as the players are getting ready to take the field, and you were right on with Matt Garza, Joe, moments ago. He said, you know, what can you do? He threw some gum in his mouth and said, let's play ball. And the rain has let up here. I checked with the grounds crew. There's 3 major reasons this field should be in super shape. They use a calcite deposit on the infield. They have the tarp on, so that'll be dry. The base running shouldn't be a problem. Also, they have a sand base through the outfield, so it drains well. And they have something that they called sub-air, which is a 150 horsepower Ford engine that instead of blowing it, it sucks the air from beneath the surface because this stadium and ballpark is relatively new, and it dries the field rather quickly, so there aren't any puddles and there aren't any wet spots. And the players think the field will be in fine shape. And Joe Madden said we're ready to play ball. So, and the rain has let up. It looks good.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is these players now know that we're about to play baseball. No matter what time we're going to have first pitch, they have to get ready because this will be Game 3 here tonight on Saturday night. Right now, we join public address announcer Dan Baker.
Joe Madden.
Fish, fish, fishy, fishy, fish, 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 fish.
And now the starting lineup for Tampa Bay. Leading off, number 1, second baseman Akinori Iwamura.
Living happily, different kinds and different species, all living in harmony.
Batting second, number 2, center fielder B.J. Upton. Batting third, number 23, first baseman Carlos Pena. Batting fourth, number 3, third baseman Evan Longoria.
There's billions of fishes in the ocean.
Batting fifth, number 13, left fielder Carl Crawford.
Different shapes and different sizes. There's even a few.
Batting sixth, in the bullpen, number 30, catcher Deanna Navarro. Batting seventh, number 26, right fielder Gabe Gross. Batting eighth, number 8, shortstop Jason Bartlett.
There's trillions of fish.
And batting ninth, in the bullpen, number 22, pitcher Matt Garza.
Different colors, each one unique, just like you and me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, number 41, Charlie Manuel. the Phillies starting lineup for tonight's game. Batting ninth in the bullpen, number 50, pitcher Jamie Moyer. Batting eighth, also in the bullpen, number 51, catcher Carlos Ruiz. Batting seventh, number 7, third baseman Pedro Feliz. Batting sixth, number 8, center fielder Shane Victorino. Batting fifth, number 5, left fielder Pat Burrell. Batting fourth, number 6, first baseman Ryan Howard. Batting third, number 26, second baseman Chase Utley. Batting second, number 28, right fielder Jason Worth. And leading off, number 11, shortstop Jimmy Rollins. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats. Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome one of Pennsylvania's own, who has become one of the hottest young artists in music today, a triple platinum Grammy-nominated recording artist, back tonight to sing for her home team. Please welcome Taylor Swift.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, that was worth the wait, wasn't it? A beautiful rendition of our national anthem as we inch closer to the first pitch of Game 3. And now welcome back to the Chevy pregame show on Fox. Chevy, an American revolution. Well, these patient fans have had a long night waiting for the start of Game 3. Well, the start of Game 3 is upon us, and they are ready, willing, and able to cheer on their hometown Phillies with those white towels. And we welcome you to Game 3. The Tampa Bay Rays and Philadelphia Phillies with the series tied at a game apiece. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Joe Buck. Tim McCarver is coming right up. We could talk about a lot of things. Obviously, the scene has shifted here to Pennsylvania. We could talk about the Phillies' struggles with runners in scoring position. We could talk about the way the Tampa Bay Rays played terrific small ball to help them win game number 2. But, Tim, we really should talk about this pitching matchup a little more in depth. And you can talk about Matt Garza and, of course, Jamie Moyer being so different with regard to age. But how about the way they attack hitters and what they're going to try to do here tonight?
Well, the biggest difference between the two pitchers is the stuff. The other thing is what they do with the stuff. As far as Matt Garza is concerned, it's easy. Throw the ball down the middle of the plate, whether it's a curveball, fastball, or a curveball as he did against the Red Sox in the ALCS. For Jamie Moyer, it's a little more dicey. He's got to use a 21-inch plate and try to right-handed batters hit the outside 3 inches, actually the 3 inches off the plate. If he can do that, and if he can get those strikes like this, he'll pitch a good ball game. If he does not, it's going to be a long night for the Phillies.
Yeah, and for the most part, this postseason, as opposed to during the regular season when he won 16 games, it's been a lot of home plate. And when he gets it over home plate, he is hittable, as we found out with the Milwaukee Brewers and we found out with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The World Series returns to Philadelphia for the first time since 1993 tonight. The series tied at a game apiece, and we're in a new venue. Who will make the right call? Who will be the hero? And who will go one game up? It's World Series Game 3, next on Fox. A little later than we expected, but Joe Maddon's crew is ready to go. We give you his Tampa Bay Rays starting lineup as voiced and presented by Carl Crawford.
I'm Carl Crawford, and tonight's starting lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays. Batting leadoff, Akinora Iwamura playing second base. Batting second, B.J. Upton playing center field. Batting third, Carlos Pena playing first base. Batting fourth, Evan Longoria playing third base. Batting fifth, myself, Carl Crawford, playing left field. Batting sixth, Deanna Navarro playing catcher. Batting seventh, Gabe Gross playing right field. Batting eighth, Jason Bartlett, shortstop. And batting ninth, Matt Garza, starting pitcher.
A little smile. It looked like a little relief on the face of Carl Crawford after getting through that. Good job, Carl, and thanks for helping us out. You look at the Phillies defense and their outfield assists, and they tied for the most out there with those arms. The most assists in Major League Baseball. Burrell, Victorino, and Worth around the outfield, left to right, with Feliz, Rollins, then Utley, Howard. Carlos Ruiz does the catching, and he and his starting pitcher, Jamie Moyer, are making the long, slow walk back to the bullpen. And you look at that stat for Jamie Moyer. I'm sure at some point he's tired of talking about the fact that he's 45 years old. He is still a very good Major League pitcher, as witnessed by his 16-7 record during the regular season and what he did down the stretch. 9-1 in his final 16 regular season starts. We look back to his first start, June 16th, 1986 at Wrigley against Steve Carlton and the Phillies. Carlton fly ball results in Jerry Mumphrey throwing out Glenn Wilson at the plate. Moyer got the win, going 6 1/3 innings. He gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs. It was Steve Carlton's next to last appearance in a Phillies uniform before being traded to the Giants. And for Jamie Moyer, Tim, he was a kid who grew up in the suburban area here, grew up a Phillies fan, and Steve Carlton was his idol.
And here it is 22 years later, and who threw out the first pitch tonight? Steve Carlton. Great left-hander with 329 wins in his remarkable career, and 241 of those as a pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies.
So now the Phillies are about to take the field, and this crowd here in Philadelphia, boy, they have had a long night, and we are going to have the first pitch after 10 o'clock Eastern time. So how is this thing going to unfold, and how are these two starting pitchers going to react after the long delay? These fans are ready. The fanatic is ready. The towels will be out. Something that these fans could use to dry off their seats here in this ballpark.
Yeah.
So again, this series tied at a game apiece. Philadelphia won the opener 3-2 behind Cole Hamels. Then 2 nights ago, down in St. Petersburg, Florida, it was James Shields over Myers with big-time help out of the bullpen from the 23-year-old left-hander, the rookie, David Price, who went 2 1/3 innings. And there's Charlie Manuel. He has made his name in the big leagues, Tim, as a hitting instructor. And what's gone on with his lineup, and with very good hitters, very good major league hitters, has got to be baffling with the way they have approached what they've been getting from these Tampa Bay pitchers. They seem over anxious. They seem jumpy. And the bottom line is they're 1 for 28 with runners in scoring position.
Well, that's what really bothers Charlie Manuel. If something's wrong with the pitching staff, if something's wrong with the defense, he doesn't take it personally. But when something's wrong with the offense, he takes it very personally.
Here are the 4 keys to the game, Tim.
And for the Tampa Bay Rays, handle the crowd. We thought about an hour ago that the rain would handle the crowd, but they're back in it. And to swing at strikes from Jamie Moyer. As far as the Phillies are concerned, runners in scoring position. Charlie Manuel saying it's easy to try hard, but don't.
We are about to have our opening pitch. It's brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. And I'll say this, we talked a lot already about the weather. As you look at the statistics during the regular season, very good numbers. Take the age out of the equation, and you're looking at a guy who is one of the National League's best starting pitchers, period. He almost gave the Phillies 200 innings, which is kind of that benchmark that every team is looking for from their starting rotation. So he had a good regular season. The postseason has not been good. And right now, the sprint pitcher profile for Jamie Moyer.
Well, for Jamie, he rarely goes above 85 miles an hour, so turn off the radar gun. And from a Rays standpoint, it's right for the right-handed batters to go to right. Position that shoulder and try to hit the ball to right field. Charlie Manuel saying Jamie Moyer actually is more patient than the hitters, and you rarely hear a manager say that about a pitcher.
I started to say that we've talked so much about the weather, and that conversation has mainly been about the rain and the wind. But I would say over the last 25-30 minutes, it's the temperature.
Yeah.
Now it has really dropped, and I know that baseball was worried about a forecast for Tuesday. If we didn't play tonight, Tuesday's forecast is for wind and cold, and we've got that right now. This is a chilly night. We had 55 degrees earlier. I think that's something that we should keep track of as we go through these first few innings, because the temperature is going down here on the 25th of October. Hour and 31 minutes after we were scheduled to start, we've got baseball. And Iwamura will try to get it going for Tampa Bay against Jamie Moyer. His first pitch in the World Series at 10:07, and it's a strike.
Jamie Moyer arrived at the ballpark today at noon, so he's been here for 10 hours and 7 minutes.
And as we said, he was literally inside his locker with his feet up as he gets Iwamura on a fly ball into center, and Victorino is there, 1 out. And the difference between Jamie Moyer, the veteran, and Matt Garza, who's just 24 years old and just coming off his first full year in the big leagues, is Garza was stomping around the clubhouse when we were down in there at what, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Here's B.J. Upton. B.J. Upton in the number 2 spot. 3 for 5 in his career against Moyer. He takes a strike.
Boy, that was a telling pitch right there. If Moyer can get that, he'll last 6 innings. And
that's really all the Phillies are looking for.
That's right.
This is a Philadelphia bullpen that in the last 3 innings, and they say they make it a 7-inning game, they could make it a 6-inning game if they had to, with a combination of, and there's another good sign for Moyer getting that pitch off the plate for a strike.
Field and Colbreth giving Moyer that pitch on the outside, and once again he needs that pitch.
Upton grounds 2 short from the hole. Rollins makes a play, 2 out. Good play by Jimmy Rollins. And with 2 out, nobody on, Carlos Pena will be the hitter, and we look at the pitch grips of Jamie Moyer.
There's an idea with the 2-seam fastball that goes away from right-handed batters. He'll throw the 4-seam fastball inside to right-handers, and then the cut fastball inside to right-handers. But what makes Jamie tick is that changeup. A lot of practice.
With 2 out, nobody on, Carlos Pena, who is a .500 career hitter against Moyer, stands in and takes a strike. In baseball these days, there are scouting reports for everything. Where outfielders play, where infielders play, what pitchers do against hitters, and vice versa. But there are also scouting reports on umpires. And there is a scouting report on the home plate umpire, the part of the Phillies, that they believe they're going to get a lot of strikes called tonight by Field and Colbreth. Some umpires are hitters umpires and some are pitchers umpires. They believe Colbreth is in the latter category of a pitcher's umpire.
He's a strike caller, says Charlie Manuel.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Ball 1. Pena is so far hitless in this World Series. Pena checked his swing. 2-2.
That was a changeup to Pena, and it appeared. I don't think the bat went around. I thought it was a good call.
2-2. Does not get the corner there, and it's a full count with Evan Longoria on deck. And a 2-out walk. So Moyer issues the walk, and the inning continues for the dangerous but so far hitless Evan Longoria. The Rays got that win at home in Game 2, and yet the combination of the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for this Tampa Bay lineup make it 3, 4, 5 is a combined 1 for 23. So the heart of the order has been slowed down by Philly pitching as Longoria takes a strike.
Joe Madden telling us before the game that Longoria has been struggling because of a slight mechanical problem. Wouldn't divulge that. He had a short talk with Evan before the game tonight.
Does that hat that Joe Madden's got have ear flaps on it?
It does. He's from Hazleton.
That's up and in.
They have a lot of hats like that in Hazleton. It gets cold up there. Joe knows how to dress, don't you?
One on, 2 out, 1 ball, 1 strike. On the inside corner, and that's the pitch you highlighted when we came on the air.
Yeah, that's that pitch. It may have the front part of the plate. If he keeps getting those pitches on either side of the plate, it's going to be a successful night for Jamie Moyer.
A 2-out walk, now a 1-2 pitch. 2-2. The chant, I'm being told by those in our truck, is Eva, as opposed to Evan Longoria. The 2-2. Foul tip. And Evan stays up there.
That was a changeup. Looked like Ruiz had it initially. No, off his glove. And you could see the changeup grip. That choked grip.
The 2-2. Changeup gets Longoria after the long wait. A scoreless first. And now Matt Garza heads to work.
Hi, this is Tim McGraw at the 2008 World Series with the starting lineup for Game 3 with the Philadelphia Phillies and the Tampa Bay Rays, but I get to do the Phillies starting lineup. Batting first, playing shortstop is Jimmy Rollins. Batting second, Jason Worth playing right field. Chase Utley at second base. Ryan Howard at first base. Pat Burrell left field. Shane Victorino center field. Pedro Feliz is how you say that, third base. And Carlos Ruiz is the catcher. And Jamie Moyer is on the mound pitching. I think he can make it out there tonight. I think they're going to try to get him out there. I think that he's backstage taking his vitamins and getting ready, but he might make it out. If my dad was around, he would say that in his heyday, Jamie was a great pitcher.
Oh, that's a low blow. That's Tug's kid, Tim McGraw. Great guy, and we thank him for helping us with our lineup tonight. Kind of a country feel to tonight's game with Taylor Swift, who was outstanding on the Star Spangled Banner before the game, and then Tim McGraw, whose dad was a star and absolutely loved here in Philadelphia.
Retired Willie Wilson for the last out of the only World Series the Phillies have ever won in 1980.
Well, here's Jimmy Rollins 0 for 10, and we'll see how Matt Garza gets along. The Phillies may test him by trying to drop down a bunt and watch Garza field his position, wheel, and throw to first.
Or take early in the count. Fall behind and get into a hitter's count.
Watching him warm up, as you see the cotton in his ears in anticipation of a lot of crowd noise here tonight. He was digging a lot at that pitching mound around the rubber and then bounced a couple in there. So we'll see how he does with the footing. See already the mud caked around those shoes with a count of 0-1. Jimmy Rollins hitless in this series. Not anymore. Let's give you the Sprint pitcher profile for Matt Garza.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, says that Matt has the best stuff on the staff. No argument here. He can pitch without his changeup. He rarely throws that changeup, but his Achilles heel could be wildness.
Here's Jason Worth, who was hit .261 during this postseason. He struggled with runners in scoring position, as have the Phillies in general, specifically during this World Series. Rollins is on, one of the best base stealers in the game. Ball one high. You look at the Phillies in the World Series. The leadoff man got on in game 1 4 times, scored once, got on in game 2 6 times, and only one time came around to score.
It's a little bit different when you get a guy with Rollins speed on at first base as opposed to other base runners. 47 steals and 50 tries this year.
So now with the leadoff man on, Garza has been high with the first two pitches to Jason Worth. We somewhat anticipated a lineup change by Charlie Manuel Victorino in the number 2 spot, but he wanted to keep Worth up high in the order, not put him 6th, so he didn't have a lineup of right-handed bats down at the bottom of the order. It's 3-0. Garza throws a strike. And Worth will stay put, as will Jimmy Rollins over at first.
I don't think this is a running situation, maybe normally, but with Garza being wild, you've got to allow Jason Worth to really choose a strike.
That's inside for ball 4. This is the stat that everybody's been talking about regarding this World Series for Philadelphia and what they've done with runners in scoring position. They've left 11 on in each of the first 2 games. 0 for 13 in game 1, 1 for 15 in game 2, but it was an infield hit and did not produce a run. Here's Chase Utley. He's 2 for 8 in this World Series, and they do have the shift on the infield with Utley at the plate. Strike 1.
It's pretty obvious that Evan Longoria cannot be part of that shift. He's playing straight up at third because Jimmy Rollins with that great speed at second base. Longoria was around toward the shortstop area. Rollins would steal third.
So Chase Utley has done this postseason with runners in scoring position. Runners at first and second, nobody out, and that squirts away. The runners will both advance.
Excellent base running by both Rollins and Worth. What a catcher tries to do with that ball in the dirt is to keep it not only close but out in front of you. A lot of times if you one-hand that instead of coddling that right hand back there, it hardens the mitt. Navarro trying to one-hand that ball, I think the reason for Rollins and Worth to move up.
So second and third with nobody out after the wild pitch. The infield is way back on the right side, so even a ground ball to the right side would put Philly on top. Garza does not look comfortable at all.
No.
He was dominant. And here comes Joe Madden, the manager, out.
Yeah, and you know that this is more or less a psychological meeting on the mound and nothing about mechanics. Matt, calm down. Pena out for the second time.
Well, you had to wonder how he would come out of the gate being as emotional as he is, and the emotion not a bad thing, but he does get charged up for starts. He has been, as we said, stomping around that clubhouse in anticipation of the beginning of this game 3. It started over an hour and a half after it was supposed to. Add to that the elements, the wind, it's cold. And he is anything but in a groove, and now behind on the count to Chase Utley with second and third, nobody out. A hit, a walk, and a wild pitch. Inside, 3-1 with Ryan Howard on deck. Matt Garza lost game 3 of the division series at the White Sox. And then he was 2-0 against Boston, including a dominant performance in game 7 of the ALCS, and he was the MVP.
Dangerous pitch right here. 3-1 to a home run hitter in this ballpark.
To the right side, in to score is Rollins. Out at first is Utley. And the Phillies produce a run.
Rollins scoring easily on the ground ball to Pena. Pena, an excellent fielder. And this is, interestingly, how the Rays scored one of their 2 runs in the first inning 2 nights ago with a ground out.
Off the bat of Pena, the number 3 hitter, and then Longoria stepped up and he picked up an RBI ground out. And here's the chance for Ryan Howard. Not only are they shifted on the infield, but they're in for the play at the plate. Ball 1.
Now that's dangerous with Howard up there, because the reason you have the shift is he hits the ball to the right side, and now you have the infield in for a possible play at Worth should he go on a ground ball.
And again, Garza's trying to kick at that pitching rubber to get a good footing for these deliveries here in the first. 1 ball, no strikes. Two 2-0. So now how much do you want to test Ryan Howard, who has only 3 RBIs this entire postseason? Looked like he was trying to go to left in the count. 2-1.
I think if Howard does hit a ground ball, the Phillies should put the contact play on, which means the runner at third will go on contact. I think the infield is back far enough that Worth, with his speed, could score on a ground ball.
To the right side and foul, and now Garza's in a spot where he could pick up a big strikeout. Howard has struck out 4 times in this World Series. Worth, who drew a walk, is standing at third with 1 out. And after a 2-0 count, it's now 2-2. And there's the big strikeout for Garza. And more trouble for Ryan Howard as he goes down swinging, 2 out.
More trouble with that breaking ball. And a quickly breaking ball it was. Wrapped tightly to get Howard. Big out.
Good pitch by Garza for out number 2, and now it's Burrell. And he pops it up into left center field. Should play for Upton. He handles it, and after all that, Matt Garza gives up just the 1 run on the RBI ground out. 1-0 Philadelphia after 1 in Game 3. We welcome you back on this cold, windy, rainy night. 54-degree night, and tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. Looked like a very promising start for Philadelphia in their half of the first. They get only 1. Good pitching by Garza to limit the damage, and now Jamie Moyer is set to pitch to Carl Crawford. Deoner Navarro and Gabe Gross with a 1-0 lead.
And you got to think that meeting by Joe Madden on the mound did something. I mean, the Phillies had second and third, nobody out, 2-1 to Chase Utley, and the Phillies got 1 run out of that inning. Disappointing from the Phillies standpoint.
So Moyer is set to go, and Carl Crawford, who is 9 for 19 in his career against the Philadelphia left-hander, looks at one that misses, a changeup, ball 1. There are the numbers for Crawford. His only hit in this World Series, a home run in Game 1. That's a strike. It's 1-1. Crawford flies one into left, a long run for Burrell, and he cannot get to it. It's a fair ball, and it's a double for Crawford. Good start to this second inning for Tampa Bay, as Crawford put it in a spot where Pat Burrell could not get to in time.
That's a spot where nobody plays. Burrell is not a fast runner, but he's sure-handed. But this ball just off the webbing kind of lodges under his right leg, and Crawford with his speed has a relatively easy double.
So there's the tying run with nobody out, and Deoner Navarro digs his way in. Navarro, then Gabe Gross. Deoner has 2 hits. Both came in game 2. Inside, ball 1. Runner at second, nobody out, and Navarro gets it off the end of the bat. That is caught by Utley. Good play. Not an easy play, and Utley almost took a tumble.
Yeah, the reason that was not an easy play, the ball didn't have a lot of hang time. And Chase going back, turning to his right, and now backpedals and makes the play. That outfield in that area right behind the infield is still rather wet.
And for more on the playing conditions down there on the field, let's check in with Chris Myers.
Yeah, Joe, I walked the field earlier, and B.J. Upton actually came on and said that although it drained well, the slick surface, you can't charge the ball, and before you make a jump or react, you have to be sure. It could have had something to do with Pat Burrell maybe getting a late jump on that fly ball.
Here's Crawford stealing third, and he's safe with 1 out. What a good play by Crawford, who's now 7 for 7 stealing bases this postseason.
Yeah, when the out was made with 1 out is the best time to try to steal third base. And for his career, Carl Crawford is second all-time in his proficiency, stolen base proficiency, behind Willie Wilson, 82.5% career.
Now the 0-1 to Gross is inside. Crawford also has the most stolen bases in the American League since 2003 with 293. And even with this damp track, he took off and made it ahead of the throw by Ruiz. The struggling Gabe Gross, the 1-1 pitch, is down for ball 2. Gross was hitless in the ALCS, 0 for 10, and he's just 1 for 16 during the postseason. Here's a 2-1. And he lifts one into right center field. Back is Victorino, who says he's got it. He does. Tagging and scoring is Crawford. The stolen base pays off, and this game is tied at 1.
And another thing that paid off was Joe Madden putting in Gabe Gross in lieu of Rocco Baldelli or Franklin Perez. A sacrifice fly by Gross. And again, the Rays strike with what the papers have called small ball, and small ball pays off big when you do it well.
Here's Jason Bartlett now with the bases empty and 2 away. Bartlett is in the number 8 spot as Moyer gets strike 1. Moyer in his first postseason start this year was a loser in game 3 of the division series at Milwaukee, 4-1 the final. He lasted only 4 innings.
By the way, I said Franklin Perez, I meant Fernando Perez.
Game 3 of the NLCS. It was a 7-2 loss, and he couldn't make it through the second. He's 1 out away from doing just that, but he has given up a 1-run lead. 2 balls and a strike. Bartlett in the air to center. Back is Victorino, and off we go into the bottom of the second. The Phillies will have Victorino, Feliz, and Ruiz. We're now tied 1-1. And Carlos Ruiz will bat against Matt Garza. Garza was a first-round pick by Minnesota, 25th overall back in 2005 out of Fresno State. He's always had great stuff. Came up with Minnesota in 2006. 2007, last year, he split time between the big league club and AAA Rochester. Garza was traded to the Rays at the end of November with Jason Bartlett for Delman Young. There has been a rather quick maturation process for Garza within this season. Garza was 2 years old, 2.5 we'll give him, when Moyer made his major league debut. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Victorino takes a strike.
Before the inning started, Matt Garza reading what is on the underside of the bill of the cap.
And it's part of what I started to talk about with regard to him growing up this season, as he gets a fastball past the bat of Shane Victorino. 2-2.
High fastball. Victorino does not lay off it.
Yeah, and that's something that Charlie Manuel has specifically talked to his hitters about, laying off the high deliveries, and Victorino did not. So the count's 2-2. Here's a ground ball. What a good pick by Pena at first. Tough play. 1 out. Bad hop. Pena stayed with it, got to the bag easily, and Victorino, who hit it hard, is the first out here in the second. Back on June the 8th in a start against Texas, this right-hander Matt Garza got into it with his catcher Deoner Navarro on the mound. It was kind of a culmination of the first part of the season where his teammates, Garza's teammates, grew weary of the way he was reacting whenever anything would go against him during the course of a game. Deoner Navarro came out there, tried to calm him down. Garza reacted. They had an incident as Phillies grounds to the shortstop. What a play by Bartlett. To his left, the ball stayed down. So did Bartlett. 2 out.
Throwing back across his body. Watch this. In between hop, quick release to get him. Well done.
That little extra last hop, and Bartlett made a very tough play look easy. The other piece of that trade with the Minnesota Twins, he and tonight's starter Matt Garza came over the offseason, and here they are in the World Series now. 2 out, nobody on for Carlos Ruiz. That's inside, ball 1. Of all the at-bats and really the hitters that Joe Madden, the Tampa Bay manager, talked to us about, the guy that jumped out to him from game 2 was this man, Carlos Ruiz, who had 2 walks and 2 doubles in the game and very good swings all night. And now he goes deep to left, and Ruiz has put Philly back on top.
Well, Joe Madden is further impressed. You mentioned the 2 doubles and 2 walks in game 2, and now to put the Phillies ahead here in the second inning on an inside fastball for his first career postseason home run.
Now Garza deals with Moyer, who takes a strike.
Carlos's family very happy in Panama tonight. In fact, I heard from his family earlier today saying he's not from Venezuela, he's from Panama. Now the whole world knows it.
And Moyer waits for an 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Garza during the season allowed 19 home runs. He allows a home run to Ruiz here his first to the postseason. Moyer was trying to go deep, but that swing.
A faint smile on the face of Jamie Moyer.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Moyer, who had 4 hits all year, strikes out. Second strikeout for Garza. But Carlos Ruiz goes deep on a cold, wet night. 2-1 Philly after 2. Not exactly facing a flamethrower, but still trying to figure out Jamie Moyer with the rest of his teammates, and the count evens 1 ball, 1 strike. To the left side and easy for Phillies. 1 away. Back to the top of the lineup, and Iwamura. The World Series on Fox is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. By Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Visa. Go on, live life, and remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa. And by Chevy, an American Revolution. Now Iwamura takes a strike. We mentioned that Jamie Moyer came up with the Cubs in 1986. In 1989, he was traded to Texas with Rafael Palmeiro. Mitch Williams was involved in that deal, went the other way. But 4 times he signed as a minor league free agent. As Iwamura pops one into shallow right. And Worth comes on for out number 2. He signed with Boston as a free agent, period. Then traded to Seattle, and that's, Tim, where things started to turn around.
Right.
As you're looking at a guy who has 246 career wins, but 216 of them came since he was 29 years old.
That's why Jamie, his wife, and 7 children still live in the Seattle area.
The first 10 seasons compared to the last 12. And he's now 47th on the all-time win list.
Yeah, you mentioned signed as a minor league free agent 4 times, 3 times in 1 season, 1992.
The 1-0 pitch fooled Upton. Ken Rosenthal is with us. Ken, did he ever throw the ball hard?
No, he didn't, Joe. And I asked him about this earlier this season, and he pulled out of his locker a scouting report, the Cubs' first scouting report on him from when he was in St. Joe's in Philadelphia in early 1980s. And the report, which was by the scout Billy Blitzer, said that Jamie threw 84 miles per hour, occasionally hitting 85, 86.
So really not much different than it is today.
He signed back in the mid-'80s for $13,000.
Hardest pitch he's thrown tonight, 82. The 1-2 pitch. Got Upton looking. The changeup as B.J. Upton continues to argue after 2.5. 2-1 Philadelphia. Top of the order for the Phillies here in the 3rd inning. Rollins, Worth, and Utley. Rollins led off with a hit, scored a run on an RBI groundout by Chase Utley. And he hits this one hard and into right. Rollins is 2 for 2. Happy to be back in Philadelphia. Prior to tonight's game, Albert Pujols of the Cardinals was given the 2008 Roberto Clemente Award, presented by Chevy. The National Award is given annually to the Major League player who combines outstanding skills on the baseball field with devoted work in the community. And you saw in that picture Billy DeWitt, the president of the St. Louis Cardinals, Vera Clemente, Roberto Clemente Jr., his brother Luis Clemente, and Major League Baseball president and chief operating officer Bob Dupe. Leadoff man is on. Jason Worth is at the plate. with the Phillies up 2-1. First pitch to Worth, up and in. Ken Rosenthal, what have you learned about Garza holding runners close at first?
Joe, he doesn't do that very well. He doesn't like to throw over. And Davey Lopes made that point to Shane Victorino in the dugout earlier, saying you can get a 12-foot lead.
He's balked twice. When he does go to first base, he's got a balk move, leaning on that front foot and spinning.
And you can see Rollins over at first base behind Garza. He's thinking, how big can I take this lead? Because I remember a guy who played with you, Tim, Lou Brock, who talked about pitchers who didn't like to throw over. Sometimes it has a benefit because you never see how bad the pickoff move is at first base. But Rollins is tiptoeing way away from the bag.
It looks like Jimmy is taunting Garza. That's what Lou Brock used to do to pitchers. He would taunt them, tease them like that.
Navarro blocks it. We talked earlier that one weapon the Phillies have against Garza is trying to drop down bunts, maybe not in this situation, and test Garza with his throws over to first. It's something that he struggled with. He got Coco Crisp on a play on a bunt during the ALCS where he turned and fired about a 95-mile-an-hour strike to first, but that's something that he has struggled with. There goes Rollins, pitch down and in. Rollins is out. Good throw by Navarro, one away.
A perfect throw, but more impressively, a quick release. Watch how fast Navarro gets rid of this ball. Right on the money. Remember, touched him on his right hand. Jimmy Rollins caught only 3 times in 50 tries this year. You know that the surface may have had something to do with that, because when he slid, he stopped. Not your normal slide. So I think the wet infield had something to do with Rollins in that slide into second.
This one spoiled by Jason Worth. The count stays 2-2.
Good jump. You can see when he gets down, that's an awkward slide. And that's why Iwamura tagged him on his right hand.
I'll say it was almost a barrel roll into second base.
Yeah, he slid and stopped. That's what a wet infield will do for you.
2-2 to Worth. And look at Jason Worth just stick the bat out and get a base hit into right. Something he did in game 2 down in St. Petersburg. And Garza's going, wow, can you believe he got a hit on this?
We talked about it the other night. The reach of Jason Worth with 2 strikes comes in handy. Long arms, good hitting.
So now 1 on 1 out after Rollins was caught stealing by Navarro. Chase Utley. Utley was up with second and third, nobody out. Hit an RBI ground out to the first baseman. Chase Utley, 33 home runs during the regular season. He has hit 2 during the postseason, 1 in this World Series. Strike 1. Ryan Howard waits to hit next. Now the infield, and Longoria after that first pitch goes to a position like a shortstop playing up the middle. Left side of the infield wide open. Will Utley take advantage of that? He takes down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike, according to Joe Madden. He said after game 1, hey, if Utley wants to bunt, will take the bunt as opposed to the 2-run home run he hit in the first inning. And he wants hitters to think differently than they normally do when they're at the plate and they look out and they see a different defensive alignment. Utley hits one into center field. Back is Upton, and he makes a beautiful gliding catch near the track for out number 2.
Boy, not many center fielders catch that ball. Playing shallow, relatively shallow for Chase Utley. Upton makes it look easy. Former shortstop covering a ton of ground in center field.
You could hear how crisp that was coming off the bat, and B.J. Upton just showed the world how good he is going back on a baseball. Here's Ryan Howard, struck out with a runner at third and 1 out his first time up. Phillies lead 2-1 on the Carlos Ruiz second inning home run. Out in front of a pitch again, and for Howard the same shift defensively on the infield by the Rays.
No reason thinking that the Rays will not continue to throw breaking ball after breaking ball to Howard. If he gets a fastball, it's going to be in tight.
One ball, one strike. Howard now is 0 for 13 at home during this 2008 postseason and has not homered since the 26th of September.
Fastball inside.
It's a ball, throw down, and Worth gets back.
Talked about this the other night with a left-handed hitter up there. A lot of catchers will sneak behind the left-hander. It's a lot tougher to see if you're the runner at first base.
Howard hits it to the right side. That's the shortstop Bartlett. We go to the 4th inning. Two to 1, Philadelphia out in front. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Wind has died down a bit as we play here in the top of the 4th inning. Still 2-1 Philadelphia. In the heart of the order will bat for Tampa Bay, and that means Carlos Pena, Evan Longoria, and then Carl Crawford. One ball, one strike. The 23-year-old on deck. This crowd came prepared. They were chanting Eva instead of Evan. And that one's up and in. Moyer. Tim, when you have the kind of stuff that Moyer has, you have to be able to pitch inside.
Well, to left-handers you have to. 3 straight fastballs inside. That is the best weapon a left-handed pitcher, generally speaking, has against a left-handed hitter. Inside fastball. That opens up the outside part of the plate.
78-mile-an-hour pitch, inside part, fouled away, 2-2. Infield is shifted for Carlos Pena. Pena drew a walk his first time up. And Pena pops it up behind the plate. Ruiz gives it a look, but it's out of play.
It's an oddity when a left-handed pitcher pitches out of the same hole that a right-handed pitcher does. And both Garza and Moyer are using the same hole on the pitching rubber. Third base side.
Can't even see the pitching rubber. It's under mud.
You can see the hole. There it is. Back in.
And Pena fouls it away. We understand that the college football game just ended. Penn State beat Ohio State. And if you're just flipping over to our game, well, you're in luck because there's plenty of it left thanks to a 1.5 hour delay at the start because of rain. Jimmy Rollins is 2 for 2. Carlos Ruiz went deep for a solo home run in the second. It's 2-1 Philadelphia. Boy, he just stayed inside that entire at bat. Moyer did. And Pena flies to right. Here comes Evan. Don't call me Eva Longoria.
Hey, I'm Evan Longoria, third baseman for the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's clear it up one last time. I'm definitely not related to Eva Longoria for all you skeptics out there. Growing up, I played baseball, basketball, and football. I got to play them all. My favorite video game now is definitely Guitar Hero. I'm pretty good at all the Guns N' Roses songs. Sweet Child of Mine is probably my best song. That's getting to know Evan Longoria.
And getting to know, consequently, one of the best young players to come along in this game in a long time.
From Downey, California.
But hitless in this World Series. And like a lot of his teammates have been saying, let's not be unrealistic with this guy. He already has the rookie record with his 6 home runs during this postseason. But there are going to be stretches where he is going to struggle like anybody who's come to the big leagues. He's trying to avoid an 0 for 10 start to this World Series. Ball 1. On deck is Crawford. Two and 2. Moyer fools him, changes up, gets his 3rd strikeout. 2 of them against Longoria, who's now 0 for 10 in this World Series. Well, 24 fans, the wait is almost over. Television's most addictive drama returns on November 23rd. With an exciting 2-hour event, 24 Redemption, featuring the all-new Hyundai Genesis. 24 Redemption on November 23rd. Here is Carl Crawford, 2 out, nobody on, and there is strike 1 over the inside corner.
Going inside to Carlos Pena, and now inside to Carl Crawford.
During game 2, I promised my review of 24 Redemption, which I saw. Then I destroyed the disc in typical 24 fashion to make sure it didn't fall into the wrong hands prior to its release date. And it's outstanding. Robert Carlyle is in it. John Voight is in 24. And I don't think 24 fans will be disappointed at all on the 23rd. Here's a 2-1 pitch down and away. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, tonight what we're seeing is 50 redemption after the 2 bad starts by Jamie Moyer against Milwaukee and Los Angeles, pitching well thus far.
3-1, and Crawford is fooled. Just pokes it into left. Easy for Burrell. And yes, Jamie Moyer much better tonight. Bottom of the 4th, Phillies bat up 2-1. There'll be a lot of brake lights and traffic in this area.
Yes.
Here's Burrell. And a good fastball from Garza, who has settled in. For Pat Burrell, he flied out to the center fielder Upton with a runner at 3rd and 2 out to end the 1st inning. It's 2-1 Philadelphia. That home run by Ruiz is still standing up. Garza. This is up and away. We had a chance to visit with Joe Madden, the manager of this Tampa Bay club, during the break. And we will play that for you after Burrell does something to start the fourth. 2-1.
I guess tomorrow, Sunday in Philadelphia, there will be necessary tailgating because the traffic will be moving in a crawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this will be an area that, you know, the Eagles, I don't know if people have a good idea if you're not from the area or haven't seen it. It is all right here within a few blocks. Really a great complex for sports here in Philadelphia. 2-1 is inside, 3-1. Eagles getting healthy, and they take on a pretty good Atlanta club. There you go. Football stadium at the top. And then the arena where the Sixers and Flyers play on the right, beyond where we are. Burrell got out in front. Still 3-2. The old Spectrum is in the area, and that's about to come down. And that Spectrum has seen it all. There's a Spectrum.
Saw the Broad Street Bullies of the mid-'70s with Dave Schultz, Bernie Perrant.
3-2 to Burrell is fouled back and out of play. Started to talk about the Atlanta Falcons, and they spent their first-round pick on the kid from Boston College, Matt Ryan, and the Falcons are 4-2, and Ryan's been at the controls. Look at what he's done. Over 1,100 pass yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's from Pennsylvania, about 35 miles away. Taking on the Eagles tomorrow, a 500 club, as I said, getting healthy. On the air at noon Eastern with Fox NFL Sunday. Burrell out in front. Still a full count. And the early games, which has St. Louis at New England. It has Dallas at Tampa Bay. There's a Tampa Bay at Dallas. Either way those two teams play. And all of that funnels into a great matchup here on Fox with the Giants at the Steelers.
That's not your job now, Mike.
Not right now.
No.
3-2 the count. Victorino next. And another foul. It is Tampa Bay at Dallas. So it'll be a fun day for fans in that area, watching the Bucks take on the Cowboys. And the Cowboys really did not look good last week in St. Louis. Another 3-2 pitch to Pat Burrell. From Garza, and a swing and a miss as Garza gets him for his third strikeout. And we talked to Joe Madden and asked him first, what were the magical words he said to Matt Garza when he was having trouble in the first inning?
Yeah, I just said get outs. I mean, don't worry about these base runners right now. It's way too early in the game to worry about that. I didn't want a big inning, 3, 4, 5 run inning at that point. So I said just get outs and pretend like they're not even there. That's exactly what I said.
What is your overall approach against Jamie Moyer, who obviously doesn't throw very hard?
We really do need to get up in the box and on the plate a little bit more. I can't tell from here how much of the outside corner he's getting. I know the pitch to BJ was borderline down. You have to take away his strengths, which is he wants to pitch down and into righties, and that softy down and away. So I'd like to see us get up in the box and on the plate a little bit more.
What is the temperature at which you pull those ear flaps down on that hat?
Probably, what time is it right now? I'd say 5 after 12 easily.
Okay, we'll be looking for that.
All right, thanks.
That's Joe Madden in his third year with the Tampa Bay Rays. Seems to be the perfect guy for this group. And we kind of started the story, never really got through it, about Matt Garza having that confrontation on the mound with his catcher Deanna Navarro in June in a game against the Rangers. And a lot happened after that. Here's a 1-1. Victorino takes low, ball 2, 2-1. This Tampa Bay team had enough of the antics of Matt Garza, and he needed to grow up. And in a hotel room after that confrontation between Garza and Navarro, Joe Maddon looked at him in the eyes and said, "It's got to stop right now." Garza said, "I need help to control my emotions out on the mound." Joe Maddon got him some help with a sports psychologist, Ken Ravizza. They started talking. Garza had already read one of Ravizza's books. They developed a relationship. He came down to see Garza, and he has matured before Joe Maddon's eyes in the second half of the season, and certainly this postseason.
And we talked about Garza reading the bill of his cap, and some of those are notes from Ken Ravizza. Before every inning, he'll read that. But it certainly has helped Garza thus far control his emotions.
24-year-old right-hander is ready with a 3-2 pitch. And a strike is called. A tailing fastball for out number 2.
We talked about Fielding Culbreth expanding the strike zone for Jamie Moyer, and that a tailing fastball may have been a little high, said Victorino, but enough of the strike zone to call it a strike.
There's the pitch count for Matt Garza, 60 on the night. Pedro Feliz now up with 2 out, nobody on. Fielding Culbreth, the home plate umpire, giving it a little extra kick on that strike 3 call. It's the World Series, man. You got to let it fly. You got to do your best and show your good stuff. And Fielding Culbreth, when he rung up Shane Victorino, pulled out his A material. Here's the 0-1. Fastball, fly ball, right side, and it's Gabe Gross running out of room.
There's a tailing fastball to Victorino. You can see it start inside. And there's Fielding Culbreth giving a little extra punch, not only with the hand, but with the left leg.
The leg came
yeah.
up.
Rocket kick right there. Well, he's only going to be behind the plate one time during the World Series. You got to make the best of it, as you said.
Make it count. Feliz tonight is 0 for 1 in this World Series, 2 for 8. Right back at us, and here's that confrontation between Navarro and Garza. June 8th in a game at Texas, and it was at that time that Joe Maddon and a lot of guys on that bench and with his team had enough, and that was really the tipping point for the best.
And Joe Maddon saying he's really protecting Navi or Navarro, because Navarro has to handle everybody on the staff, not just Garza.
The 0-2 to Feliz, and a strikeout and a breaking ball in the dirt. The inning is over. We go to the 5th here in Game 3. Philadelphia on top of Tampa Bay 2-1. Back after this from your local Fox station. They have been waiting since 1993 here in Philadelphia for the World Series to return. Different stadium, but these fans have been ready from the start. A long night, delayed an hour and a half because of the rain. And Deanna Navarro first up here in the 5th inning, 2-1 Philadelphia. So now Jamie Moyer, who is rolling, he's retired 9 straight, has done tonight what he hadn't been able to do the first 2 starts of the postseason, get into the 5th. And as we talked about, Tim, a couple of times, the Phillies have the ability with their good bullpen to, in essence, shorten games with Madsen, Romero, and Lidge at the back end.
Madsen in the 8th inning and Lidge in the 9th, lights out. You know, Joe Madden was talking about encouraging his players to move up in the batter's box. The one guy that listened is Navarro. You don't know how he's going to make out, but he's up in the batter's box considerably.
He said up and closer to the plate. And a foul tip. By up, he's talking about closer to the pitcher. With Gabe Gross on deck, the left-handed hitting right fielder, and then Bartlett.
Well, the catcher sees that, and the way to combat that is to come inside. That's what Moyer has been doing.
Ground ball left side. Rollins kicks it in the hole. Probably didn't have a play anyway. And Navarro is on to break up that string of 9 straight retired by Moyer. And the tying run is on with nobody out.
Reaching out, and Jimmy Rollins did not have a play. I agree with that. Could not set his feet quickly enough.
That is the second hit for Tampa Bay as we play here in the 5th inning. And Gabe Gross, who has a sac fly, steps in. There were other options, but Joe Madden wanted the left-handed hitting Gabe Gross to be in the lineup tonight against Moyer. And about a half swing, foul tip for strike 1.
Yeah, the changeup of Jamie Moyer so respected that Madden did not want Rocco Baldelli or Perez to be facing that changeup low and away.
To the right side and foul, strike 2.
How about that pattern to left-handed batters? He did it to Pena, he did it to Crawford, and now he does it to Gross. Inside, inside, inside. And once again, that is the best pattern to establish from a left-handed pitcher to a left-handed hitter, is to make him think inside.
But Moyer is doing tonight exactly what you talked about when we came on the air, which is almost disregarding the plate and working the few inches on either side.
Yeah, he expands the plate. It's not only 17 inches wide to Jamie Moyer.
Back inside, up and in, ball 1, 1 and 2. Matt Garza with a nail clipper working on that thumb. Now the 1-2. And Gross spoils it.
Here's what Jamie Moyer is doing tonight. The 3 inches outside the right-handers, the 1 inch inside. That's outside the right-handers. He's getting the calls from Field and Colbert.
Precision from Moyer. Ahead on the count and a check on Navarro. It's Gabe Gross now. Bartlett on deck. And then the pitcher, Matt Garza, who's swinging the bat, is 0 for 7. Lifetime in the big leagues. Breaking ball is popped in the air. Slicing to Burrell and left. 1 on, 1 out. More about Jamie Moyer in this resume of his charity work, the Moyer Foundation, and you can read down the list, but the Moyer Foundation with Camp Aaron, bereavement camps in the country for grieving children, Camp Mariposa for children affected by addiction in their families, the Gregory Fund for early cancer detection research, and then the Moyer Foundation Endowment for Excellence in Pediatric palliative care at Seattle's Children's Hospital. They've raised over $15 million. Wow. So Jamie Moyer has taken advantage of this platform of being a big league athlete. And here he is at the age of 45, about to be 46. November 18th, he turns 46, and we saw Pujols win the Roberto Clemente Award. He won it in 2003. Bartlett pops it up. This has been a clinic so far by Moyer. 2 out.
Well, again, if a right-handed batter moves closer to the plate, the way to defend that is to pitch him inside, and that's what Moyer's doing. Inside cutter to get Bartlett.
So now with 2 out, here's Matt Garza. 0 for 1 tonight. Did put the ball in play. Big swing by Garza. Strike 1. Joe Madden saying about Garza swinging the bat. Garza's the one I'm worried about. Tomorrow night starter Sonnenstein is a much better hitter than Garza is, who's crouched over at the plate and hits it hard, but right at Utley, and that will do it for the first 4.5. Garza hit it hard, but he makes the final out, and it's still 2-1 Philadelphia. Matchup of Moyer and Garza tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. The end of a long day of some great matchups football-wise on Fox. It'll be Andy Sonnenstein against Joe Blanton. A July pickup from the A's. Carlos Ruiz came in hitting .333 between the LCS and the World Series, and then he went deep for a home run to left his first time up. 2-1 Philadelphia because of it. It still is. Garza shows off that good velocity. Strike 1. Ruiz, then Moyer, then Jimmy Rollins. Breaking ball down. 1-1. Down and in. 2-1.
It is so satisfying when you're a catcher and you're in the World Series after a poor offensive year that you could take at least some of the credit for the way the pitchers have performed, and then to perform well offensively in the postseason. That's icing.
He's really seeing the ball well as the count goes to 3-1.
Been on base 5 straight times.
We just recently talked to his hitting coach, Milt Thompson. Got to get that visit to you as Ruiz tries to get something started here in the 5th. Late strike call. It's a full count. 3-2.
Again, Fielding Culbreth, the home plate umpire, is being fair for both sides. But a wide plate tonight.
So a full count, and Ruiz hops out. And a leadoff walk. Here is Milt Thompson, and the first question was about the guy who just drew the base on balls and how well he's swinging it. Carlos Ruiz.
Yes, he is. I mean, he's being aggressive, and I'm proud of him. He's been aggressive in his zone. During the year, he was a little, timid and wasn't swinging a lot of pitches, taking a lot of pitches. But, good things happen when you get a good pitch to hit and you go after it.
So his home run is the difference in the game right now. What are you seeing so far from Matt Garza from the dugout?
Well, he's throwing a lot of fastballs, and we're trying to make him get the ball down in the zone. We're swinging a couple bad sliders that inning, but hopefully, we'll just be patient and get a good pitch to hit and make some things happen later in this game.
All right, Milt, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Milt Thompson, the hitting coach for Charlie Manuel, and after the leadoff walk. It allows Moyer a chance to bunt, and he pops it up. The catcher Navarro pulls it in, and Moyer, who's been at it for a long time, is disgusted with himself. 1 on, 1 out. Back to the top of the order, and Jimmy Rollins. The World Series on Fox is sponsored by Chevy Traverse. It's everything you've ever wished for and then some.
That's the one thing you try to do when you're bunting a guy over. You try to keep the barrel of the bat above the hands. And when that barrel of the bat drops, from a physics standpoint, you can't help but pop the ball up. And that's what Moyer did. Watch the barrel of the bat. When that drops, the ball goes up.
1 out for Rollins, who's 2 for 2. That's up and away, ball 1. That's good news for the Phillies to get Rollins going. Came in 0 for 10 with 3 strikeouts in this series and 11 strikeouts this postseason. With his speed, sometimes just putting the bat on the ball can make something happen. And here tonight, he has singled, scored a run, singled, and been caught stealing. Spins out of the way of a pitch inside.
In the first 2 games, Jimmy Rollins went 0 for 5 for only the 2nd time in his career. That is remarkable. Last year's MVP in the National League.
Yep, back-to-back 0 for 5 performances. And the other time he had done it was against the Mets. Ripped foul. 2 balls and a strike. Phillies did not have any postseason appearances from 1994 through 2006, and now Charlie Manuel has guided this team into the postseason in back-to-back years. Last year they lost in the first round to Colorado, the eventual National League champions. This year they beat Milwaukee, beat the Dodgers, and they're 1-1 with the Tampa Bay Rays. Now a 2-2 count. Pre-game for Fox NFL Sunday is not too far away. 12 hours 15 minutes from now, as Rollins made a bid for his 3rd hit. Lines to Iwamura, 2 out. Hard hit right at the second baseman, and Jason Worth will bat.
I was thinking the stadium here in Philadelphia, Citizens Bank Park, has been very quiet. I guess understandably. So most of the crowd very tired right now with the delay.
Mentioned that Fox NFL Sunday, the pregame show tomorrow, will include a Pam Oliver sit-down interview with Jerry Jones. And there's plenty to talk about. And I know Pam, she'll talk about it all and ask him direct questions and won't let Jerry off the hook. Strike 1 to Jason Worth. Worth has walked and singled, and when he singled, he just stuck the bat out and flipped it into right. One ball, 1 strike. On deck is Utley. '189 home runs hit at this park during the season. That was 7th most across baseball, 3rd most in the National League. It is in the category of a small park, as a good fastball from Garza is in at the knees. Strike 2. Worth hit 24 home runs. Guy on deck, Utley, hit 33. Behind him, Howard, 48. Behind him, Burrell, 33. Phillies have hit 12 home runs during this postseason. The Rays have hit 23. One on, two out, 1-2 pitch, and Worth went after a high hard one. Still 1-2.
Right before that pitch, Matt Garza shook his head yes, and then kind of pointed with his head to the inside. Sometimes pitchers do that without really realizing. Maybe the fastball was called away. And they say, yeah, I want that pitch, but not there. I want it in.
Worth is off balance, flies it into right center, and there is Gross to end the inning, and 5 innings are in the books. As we look at Independence Hall here in Philadelphia, 6th inning now. Moyer back to work, still 2-1 Philadelphia. For the Rays is going to have one more crack at Jamie Moyer. It's Iwamura, B.J. Upton, and Carlos Pena. We're in the 6th inning. It's not new territory for Moyer. It is during the postseason. But he won at least 6 in 21 of his 33 starts. Paints that one over the outside part, and the count evens 1-1.
He's got the left-handed batters from Tampa Bay really bailing, expecting that ball inside.
Iwamura out in front of a 73-mile-an-hour pitch, 1-2.
You can see Ruiz setting up inside again. That was a changeup by design.
The 1-2. Say Moyer put that right where he wanted to, and Iwamura didn't go after it. Highest velocity for Garza tonight, 95 miles per hour. For Moyer, 82. And he gets Iwamura for his 4th strikeout of the night.
Jamie Moyer has been a magician thus far. Getting swings on balls out of the strike zone. I asked some of the Rays what they expected out of Jamie Moyer, and they said, well, we expect him to be about the same type pitcher as Mark Burley of the White Sox is.
You buy that?
Yes, similar. Burley throws harder.
Here is a rocket foul down to the end of the dugout off the bat of B.J. Upton.
Mark Burley throws harder, but he's got that changeup, that dead fish on the outside part to right-handed batters.
And a lot like Burley, Moyer just gets right back on top and throws another one.
Yeah.
He is not deliberate on the mound, as that ball is just inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Not a lot of wasted motion by Jamie Moyer. Moyer in his late 20s, because he was so loved within the Cubs organization, was offered a minor league coaching position by Chicago. He decided to continue to try and pitch, and he's racked up a lot of wins and made a lot of money since then. Here's the 2-1. Upton hits it off the end of the bat. Burrow will play it on a bounce, and the tying run is on here in the 6th inning as B.J. Upton has his 3rd hit of this World Series. Our Verizon game summary is in essence a pitcher's summary, and for Garza, 81 pitches, same for Jamie Moyer, who's gone into the 6th inning now officially with 5 1/3. He's allowed 3 hits. Garza has allowed only 4. And here is Carlos Pena, who's 0 for 1 with a walk, and he's flied to right.
And you remember that last at bat where 6 of the 7 pitches thrown to Pena were all inside.
And a check on Upton, who has 2 stolen bases during the postseason. This is a Tampa Bay team that is 1 stolen base away from tying a postseason record. They have 18. The record is 19. 2 more would set a new one. 75 Reds stole 19, and the 92 Braves stole 19. And Moyer consequently is paying attention to Upton, who stole 44 bases during the regular season.
Caught 16 times, a major league high.
Three straight throws over by Moyer. There is no action for the Phillies in their pen. And Upton is going to try and do something with a footing out in the area where he's taking his lead.
Jamie Moyer has a pretty good lead, or I beg your pardon, a pretty good move at first base. But more importantly, he beats the stolen base by delivering the ball quickly home. Not a real high leg kick.
He had Upton going back to the bag as he delivered a strike to Pena. Carlos Pena with 31 home runs during the regular season. He's gone deep 3 times this postseason, but he is still hitless in this World Series. Going back to the bag again as that one misses outside, a ball and a strike. And Upton right now is having a tough time figuring out Jamie Moyer. The running game is directed and controlled for the Tampa Bay Rays by Dave Martinez, the bench coach for Joe Madden. Pena takes strike 2.
This at bat, he stayed away from Pena. Boy, he is painting the corners tonight.
On deck is Longoria. Got him looking 2 out.
Talk about thinking along with his catcher. The previous at bat, 6 of 7 pitches inside, and this at bat, 4 straight pitches outside.
And so now Longoria, who has struck out twice tonight and who is 0 for 10 in this World Series. If you're just joining us, they have been chanting Eva for Evan since his first at bat. They have Upton throw down too late, stolen base anyway.
Upton went on first move. The minute Moyer picked his leg up, he was gone. Talk about beating a throw. A stolen base for B.J. Upton. He took off immediately. And Moyer very deliberate the way he picked that leg up. And the throw by Howard, Ryan can't do much about that. Upton just beat the play.
So now a base hit to tie the game as we await the first pitch to Longoria. And he shoots one into left field. Back is Burrell at the wall to end the inning.
How'd the park hold that one?
It has to be the wind. The wind is blowing straight in from left. Jamie Moyer had to take a deep breath when this ball left Longoria's bat, and all it is out number 3. Jamie Moyer now in the dugout watching his teammates bat in the bottom of the 6th inning. That ball by Evan Longoria was just crushed. And I was as surprised as you were that that ball stayed in the park. It's just 334 down the line. But it was hit right into the teeth of this wind on this cold, rainy night in Philadelphia. And instead of a 1-run lead with that ball sailing out of the park, it ended the top of the 6th inning. And now the heart of the order will bat for Philadelphia. Utley, Howard, and Pat Burrell. Utley is 0 for 2 with an RBI. Squirts one foul off to the left.
Some hitters are robbed by a fielder. Evan Longoria robbed by the elements. Wrong time of year.
Here's a 1-1. 2-1.
That got me.
That tells you all you need to know as to whether or not Jamie Moyer thought that ball was headed out of this park. 2-1. Like Gene Simmons. This ball is rocketed into right. Don't worry about the wind. 3-1. Third home run of the postseason for Utley. Second of this World Series. Now Howard with a late swing at a rare fastball. Strike one.
Longoria against the wind. Utley with the wind.
One ball, one strike.
Inside fastball. Not for long.
What did Joe Madden tell us about their scouting reports on Chase Utley? You can't throw it hard enough, and you can't throw it low enough.
That ball down and in, and left-handed hitters in particular, all they have to do is drop the bat head on that ball, and that's exactly what Utley did. It was similar to that home run he hit against Derek Lowe in the first game of the LCS against the Dodgers.
A leadoff home run here in the 6th inning, and now Ryan Howard takes just outside. 2-2.
You see that head right down on the ball. Drop the bat head. 3-1 Phillies.
Still 2-2. And we have not seen good swings at all tonight from Ryan Howard, as Garza has been one step ahead of him all night. Struck him out with a runner at third, one out in the first. Got him on a tap out to short in the third. Has him with a 2-2 count here. Now he launches one to right. Back to back. In a blink, it's 4-1 as Ryan Howard hits his first home run since the 26th of September. And he breaks an 0-for-14 streak with a bat here at home.
Breaking ball stays up about mid-thigh. Wow. Players refer to that type pitch as a cement mixer. It doesn't go down, it just spins. And when balls just spin, that happens.
Burrell was trying to make it 3 in a row. Strike one. It's the 14th time teammates have gone back-to-back with home runs. The last time Reggie Sanders and David Bell for the Giants. Game 2, 2002, and Chad Bradford starts to get loose. Ball and a strike on Burrell. That breaking ball stayed up. A bad breaking ball that was pounded by Ryan Howard after the home run on a pitch down and in to Chase Utley. On the inside corner, 2-2. On the inside corner, 1 out. And strikeout number 6 for Matt Garza.
Garza coming right back inside to Pat Burrell. And again, a liberal strike zone. Fieldman Culbreth once again has been very consistent for both sides tonight.
In case you were wondering, back-to-back-to-back with home runs in a World Series has never happened. Victorino now with 1 out, nobody on, 2 runs home, pops it up, out of play. Shane Victorino 0 for 2 tonight with a ground out, a strikeout. Garza's 0-1 pitch. Pop up on the infield. Pena will call off Garza. 2 out. Joe Madden telling us that at 12:05 most likely those ear flaps would come down, but they're still up.
Yeah.
Only reason to pull them down now is the temperature's just gone down 2 degrees is for the noise that's been generated by the 2 Philly home runs here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, this attack more characteristic of the Phillies attack all year. 4 runs in this game, 3 solo home runs.
Strike 1 on Phillies. Pedro Phillies is grounded out, struck out. Now 9 for 45 in his career during the postseason. But in this lineup for his glove with Moyer pitching, 0-1 delivery is in at the knees, strike 2. Now Trevor Miller, the lefty, joins Chad Bradford for the Rays in their pen. The 0-2. Phillies stays alive. In the top of the 7th inning, the Rays will have Crawford, Navarro, and Gabe Gross against Jamie Moyer. Remember the Phillies' ability to shorten a game with the combination of Ryan Madson and Brad Lidge in their bullpen. So an important 7th inning coming up for the Tampa Bay lineup. And for Jamie Moyer on the mound. Inning over. It was just before midnight when Longoria tried to crunch one out to left. The park held it. Just after midnight on Sunday morning, 2 home runs to right. Utley, Ryan Howard, 4-1 after 6. Back after this from your local Fox station. Jamie Moyer goes back to work in the 7th inning. He's got help getting ready behind him in the bullpen for the Phillies. And Crawford tries to bunt his way on. Good bunt. Moyer flips. Safe. And a good start to the 7th inning for Tampa Bay. Moyer and Howard did everything they could, but Carl Crawford is just too fast.
Watch this play by Moyer and Howard with the bare hand grab.
He was out.
Bare hand grab right in front of the steamrolling Crawford, and the ball beat him. He was out.
He was out.
What a play by both Moyer. Glove hand, scoop, bare hand. He was out.
It'll go down as an infield hit, a bunt base hit. But the first base umpire, Tom Hallion, missed the call. So now Deoner Navarro will bat for Tampa Bay, and that's exactly the kind of start the Rays were looking for. And Navarro, who's 1 for 2 against Moyer tonight, and who hit 7 home runs during the regular season, stands in. It's 4-1. Philadelphia leading here in the 7th. Strike one on an 80-mile-an-hour fastball. Scott Air, the lefty. Chad Durbin, the right-hander, getting loose for Philadelphia in their pen. Inside, a ball and a strike. That was the 4th hit of the night by Tampa Bay, and now Navarro takes a strike.
3 fastballs inside to Navarro. And again, a guy who's moved up on the plate at the suggestion of Joe Madden.
The 1-2 pitch. Navarro fouls it. Ken Rosenthal is with us down on the field. Ken?
Joe, Jamie Moyer, you saw his all-out effort on the bunt by Crawford. He's from a different generation than most of his teammates, but he gets tremendous respect in that clubhouse. Ryan Howard told me he's just old school when it comes to the game. He runs and hustles everywhere. If you're a kid, he's the person you want to try to model yourself after in terms of playing the game the proper way.
He has Navarro set up, and now a throw over. Crawford has his steal in this game, 7 during the postseason, and here is that play once again. A tremendous athletic play by a guy who in less than a month is going to turn 46 years old, and it was good enough with a bare hand grab on the other end to beat Crawford, but safe was the call, and the leadoff man is on here in the 7th. .91 pitches on the night as Moyer works here in the 7th. Navarro so far this postseason from the 7th inning on is 1 for 12. He's done the majority of his hitting earlier in games. The Rays ask him for a big hit after the bunt base hit by Carl Crawford as they trail by 3. Down the left field line, this ball is fair and into the corner. Crawford will dig for third. They will hold him there, and it's second and third with nobody out, and the Rays will have the tying run come to the plate here in the 7th.
This ball hits the cutout right in left field, right there, right toward the wall, played by Pat Burrell, but with nobody out. Third base coach Tom Foley holding Carl Crawford properly, and I'd be very surprised to see Moyer pitch to Gabe Gross here. You've got Scott Air warming up. I guess Charlie Manuel thinking that if you bring in Air, certainly you'll have a pinch hitter. So he'll go with the left-hander against left-hander if he leaves him in there. Both the left-hander and right-hander are ready in the Phillies bullpen.
Moyer stays in to deal with Gabe Gross. 0 for 1 with a sac fly. Gross was the choice of Joe Madden because he liked the matchup against Jamie Moyer as opposed to a right-handed option like Rocco Baldelli, switch hitter Zobrist, Fernando Perez. He liked Gabe Gross against Moyer, and what an opportunity as he represents the tying run here in the top of the 7th. One ball, one strike.
Gross started out as the choice of Joe Madden, and now he's the choice of Charlie Manuel.
One ball, one strike, second and third, nobody out. Gross hits it to first. Good pick by Howard. The race to the bag for the out. Crawford scores, and it's a 4-2 game. So a productive out by Gabe Gross, his second RBI of the night.
Also a productive out by Ryan Howard, maligned for his fielding. He has made 2 terrific plays this inning. Crawford scoring easily, and that's going to be all for Jamie Moyer, but a terrific play by Ryan Howard.
Moyer, who was emotional talking about the chance to start for the team he rooted for as a kid in the World Series. He'll hand off and then receive a hand. Jamie Moyer pitches into the 7th inning here tonight. 96 pitches. Responsible for the runner at third, and on his way off the field tipped his cap to the umpire, telling him nice job here tonight. And then as he got near the dugout, tipped his cap to the fans. And here's that play that started the inning on the bunt by Crawford. You can see the ball in the air, firmly grasped in the bare hand of Ryan Howard, clearly an out, or it clearly beat Crawford with Carl's foot still in the air, but it was called a hit. Safe was the call by the first base umpire. A double followed, then the RBI ground out. And now Chad Durbin takes over. Had a good ERA and was very valuable for Philadelphia out of their bullpen. Runner at third, 1 out, and Jason Bartlett, the shortstop, digs in. It's a 2-run game, 4-2 Philadelphia in the 7th. And a broken back ground ball to short. Out at first. In to score is Navarro. And it's a 1-run game.
Talked about a productive out by Gabe Gross for the Rays, and it certainly was. Not only plating Crawford, But moving Navarro to third base, the Phillies had to play their infield back. And for the third time in this World Series, a ground ball to short plates a run for the Rays.
Willie Ibar will come off the bench and bat with 2 out, nobody on. He's had a very good postseason. First full year in the big leagues for Ibar, picked up from the Atlanta Braves, and he's got some pop. Down and in, ball 1. Chad Bradford getting loose. The Phillies in their half of this 7th will have the 8, 9, and 1 spots. The book is closed on Moyer. 6 1/3, 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Now the 1-1. Ibar takes ball 2. Moyer grew up in suburban Philly, as we said, and was at old JFK Stadium for the rally after the Phillies victory parade in 1980. Now pitching for the team he rooted for as a young man, and he leaves with a chance to help his team win game 3.
I think if Ibar gets on right here, you're going to see the left-hander Air.
And now a walk. So the tying run is on for Tampa Bay. The 7th inning, top half of it continues, and Iwamura is coming up, and Charlie Manuel is coming out, as is Durbin, you'd have to believe.
And you would think Air would come in for 1 batter, Iwamura, and then they would go to Matson if the inning continues.
So Air is coming in. Moyer will sit and watch. Iwamura coming up. Tying run at first here in the 7th of game 3. Well, here is Scott Air, picked up from the Cubs during the season, and his combined numbers between Chicago and Philadelphia: 5-0, ERA big. So far this postseason, 2 1/3 innings, 1 earned run, and he will deal with Iwamura. With Madsen getting loose, B.J. Upton on deck, and what is now a 4-3 game as the young Rays have come right back after the 2 home runs by Philadelphia in the bottom of the 6th. Good fastball from Air. Iwamura tonight 0 for 3. Had 3 hits in his first 3 at bats of this World Series. He is now 3 for 10. So 0 for his last 7. Bradford still getting loose. Rays will need a new pitcher in the bottom of this 7th when the bottom 2 in the lineup, Ruiz, then a pinch hitter, and then Rollins back. Iwamura fouls it, strike 2. Akinori with 6 home runs during the regular season, 1 this postseason. This crowd comes alive at 12:33 a.m. Ball 1. Moyer got the first 19 outs. Durbin got 1, and now Air. Iwamura takes ball 2.
Good play by Ruiz, blocking that breaking ball in the dirt. After 3 fastballs, Iwamura finally saw a slider. But Ruiz, one of the best in the business at blocking breaking balls in the dirt. Of course, that ball did not go in the dirt. It hit his glove.
So the count 2-2. Iwamura with a big chance for Tampa Bay. Ayers pitch. Ball 3. And that means that Willie Ibar, the runner at first, will get a head start.
Well, you don't get a head start if Ryan Howard holds him on. I think you hold him on right here to keep him a step or two closer. And that way, with the ball in the gap, he doesn't have that extra step or two to score. If you're going to hold him on for 5 pitches, why not hold him on again?
So Howard backs up. Ibar will get a big break from first. He's the tying run with 2 out. Runner goes, inning over. How about the night for Jamie Moyer? 6 1/3, 3 runs, 4 hits. Struck out 5. Walked only 1. Had to exhale after this. Showed his relief. Tried to make a play to start the top of the 7th. Did all he could. Call one against Philadelphia. The Rays got 2. It's 4-3, and it's time to stretch as we join public address announcer Dan Baker for the introduction of God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join United States Air Force Staff Sergeant Jody Johnson from the Willow Grove Naval Air Station as she sings God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. Down below, bottom of the 7th inning, and it will be Carlos Ruiz against Chad Bradford. And a strike from the submarine-style right-hander. Ruiz dealing with Bradford, who was picked up from the Orioles by the Tampa Bay Rays. Had a very good year. Ruiz has homered and walked tonight. Chops this one. Bartlett to his left. 1 out. Now we'll have a pinch hitter, Jeff Jenkins, off the bench to bat for Scott Air. Join Major League Baseball in its efforts to help victims of the devastation caused by Hurricane Ike by donating to the Gulf Coast Ike Relief Fund. Log on to ghcf.org or MLB.com to help those in need. Together, we can make a difference.
The reason Jeff Jenkins is the hitter now is he's the best low ball hitter on the Phillies bench. And that's what you want against a guy like Bradford, whose success comes from sinkers down in the zone. He's got an uppercut swing, does Jeff Jenkins.
Longtime Milwaukee Brewer as J.P. Howell gets loose. A 4-3 game, another tight one between the Rays and the Phillies. Here's a 1-0. A ball and a strike. Jenkins has had only 2 at-bats this entire postseason as Ryan Madsen gets loose for the top of the 8th. And it will not be an easy top of the 8th for Madsen, as the Rays have Upton, Pena, and Longoria coming to the plate. 2-1. Jenkins up on the count, 2 balls and a strike. Bradford deals, and it's hooked foul. 2-2.
Charlie Manuel sending Jeff Jenkins up there, and what Bradford's done, he's gone away from his strength. His strength is away to left-handed batters, but he's tried to come inside 4 times to Jenkins. Tell you, Jenkins can lift that pitch down and in. Got a lot of power on that particular pitch.
First at bat of this World Series, waits for a 2-2. Full count. Now Jim Hickey looking at hitting charts with the switch hitting Jimmy Rollins on deck. With 1 out, nobody on, Jenkins grounds to short. Bartlett takes care of Jenkins, the pinch hitter. 2 out, back to the top, and Jimmy Rollins. Tomorrow, Fox NFL Sunday returns doubleheader action, beginning with the Buccaneers taking on Terrell Owens and the Cowboys of the Falcons here in Philadelphia for a date with the Eagles. Or other regional action, then Eli Manning and the Giants and Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers hook up. Or the Seahawks battle the 49ers. Coverage begins with a Ford Drive 1 Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox. Strike 1 to Jimmy Rollins, who's 2 for 3. Our own Chris Myers will camp out here overnight and then head across the street for the Falcons and Eagles tomorrow in the afternoon, and then join us here in the evening for the World Series. There's another strike to Jimmy Rollins, 0-2.
It's a split doubleheader for Chris Myers tomorrow.
It is. See if he wears that same tie tomorrow.
He's got to bring 2 ties to work tomorrow.
The Philly fanatics going to drive me from one stadium to the other.
Fantastic.
All right, that'll be exciting.
Rollins pops it up, shallow left, out goes Bartlett. Involved in all 3 outs, and let's go to the 8th. Big bats coming up for the Rays as they trail by 1. We go into the 8th inning, another good ball game. 4-3 Philadelphia on top, and Ryan Madson will deal with B.J. Upton. Ball 1 outside. We welcome you inside the booth, and Tim, so often you hear it said the save could come in the 8th inning. This is the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Rays, and if the Phillies get it, the save could come right here.
The most important leadoff hitter in an inning is B.J. Upton, because if he gets on the threat of speed, stealing a base as last time he was on.
Madson has been as good a setup man as you can find in baseball the second half of the season and down the stretch. And he has said that with his confidence comes easier mechanics, and easier mechanics lead to higher velocity, and he has thrown higher velocity in the mid to upper 90s so far here in October. Harder than he has all season. 2-1 pitch. 93, good enough to get by the bat of Upton. 2-2.
And he has thrown as high as 97. He just blows this ball right by B.J. Upton.
Pena on deck, and then Longoria. Inside, 3-2. Rays put their leadoff man on last inning with a bunt base hit by Crawford. It was 2 for 3 tonight with 2 runs scored. J.C. Romero and Brad Lidge. The lefty and the righty getting loose. Three-two pitch. Tough play for Rollins. Has to hurry. Goes down to get it. Throws. Base hit. Upton can fly.
And the double clutch by Rollins. He didn't get it cleanly out of his glove. Playing Upton to pull, and had too far to go for it. Right there. Double clutch. Couldn't get it out of his glove. Upton beats it easily.
So now the tying run is on for the Rays, and with nobody out, Carlos Pena will be the batter.
A running situation right here. Madsen with that velocity, a rather high leg kick, slow to the plate. We'll see what Joe Madden elects to do. I think what he's done is give Upton his option of running. If you get a good jump, take off. Very aggressive manager.
As you said, a stolen base his last time on, 44 during the regular season, and time called at the plate. Check on the runner. Since the 1st of September, the combination of Madsen and Lidge has gone 2-0, an ERA of 0.8, and 14 of 14 in save chances. Fastball rides up and in, ball one. Carlos Pena 0 for 2 with a walk. That was against Moyer, a much different opponent here in Ryan Madsen. And Pena up on the count here, 2-0. A leadoff infield hit by B.J. Upton, his second straight hit. That's the tying run at first with nobody out. Pena was ready to launch. 2-1.
Gives you an idea of the fastball of Ryan Madsen. Even a power hitter like Pena expecting it, and fouls a 2-0 pitch off the other way.
And now time called at the plate. Coming up on 1 o'clock in the morning in the East. The 2-1. In for strike two. 2-2. And the velocity is starting to creep up a little bit. That 195. With good movement. Full count, as it was with Upton.
Carlos Pena strikes out a lot. It'll be interesting to see if Joe Madden sends Upton. I would think so. Pena struck out 166 times this year.
Upton stays put. Pena strikes out. 1 away.
Didn't look like Carlos Pena picked that ball up real well, and a check swing. Ball is down. So Pena once again has struck out 166 times during the season, strikes out in a big moment here.
And here is a big moment again. Evan Longoria, who made a bid for his 7th home run of this postseason in his last at bat. The wind has died considerably. Upton takes off and no throw. The tying run is just a base hit away on ball 1 to Evan Longoria.
What a jump. No play. He may not be through Once again, the best time to try to steal third. And that's what I would imagine Carlos Ruiz is out to tell Matson. Give him more than one look at second base. Chase Utley playing toward the bag. You've got to keep an eye on him. Otherwise, he'll keep going to third.
How about 21 stolen bases this postseason for Joe Maddon's team? They led baseball with 142 during the regular season. Now Upton is running. Throw to third is not in time. Gets away, and this game is tied. The legs of B.J. Upton all the way around the bases. It's 4-4.
And a throwing error on Carlos Ruiz. He actually couldn't throw over Longoria, who's 6'3", and Longoria obviously didn't give him any help. He comes up, he wants to throw. Longoria ducks a short hop. It hits Upton, bounces into foul territory, and Upton scores to tie the game on a throwing error by Ruiz.
It's another stolen base, E2, as Longoria grounds to Utley for the out. Good play for out number 2 here in the top of the 8th inning, but consider B.J. Upton's trip around the bases. An infield hit, a steal of second, a steal of third, and went home on the throwing error by Ruiz as Utley just got Longoria for out number 2.
There is really nothing you can do about the steal of second base, but there is something you can do about the steal of third base from second. And I don't think the Phillies were vigilant enough with Upton at second base when he easily stole third.
And now with Crawford coming up, Charlie Manuel is going to the mound, and J.C. Romero, the left-hander, has been getting ready in the bullpen. So the speed of the Tampa Bay Rays has led to a couple of runs. The Crawford bunt hit to start the 7th, and then B.J. Upton by himself in the 8th. Pitching change, we're tied here in game 3. Ryan Madson is now in the dugout primarily because of the legs of B.J. Upton. The inning started with a chopper up the middle. Jimmy Rollins could not get the out at first. Then a steal of second. Took off for third and scored as the ball got away on an error by Ruiz. 3 stolen bases in this game for Upton, 3 of the 4 for the Rays, who have tied game 3 here in the 8th.
Looking at that replay again, it looks like the ball hit the shoe of B.J. Upton and kind of kicked that ball foul.
Now Carl Crawford with 2 out, nobody on, facing Romero. The lefty brings it home, and Crawford hits it in the air to right. Easy for Worth. The Rays have tied it, but like Tampa Bay had, the Phillies will have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the bottom half of the 8th. We're now tied at 4. Bottom of the 8th inning now, and the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Philadelphia. Worth, Utley, and Howard, with Bradford on the mound and Howell getting ready in the bullpen. Ball 1 inside.
Yeah, Bradford is in there for one more hitter, and that's Jason Worth. Because when Utley comes in, Howell will be the pitcher.
Wind has picked up a little more and is again blowing in from left, maybe out a little toward right. 2-0. Bradford relieved last inning and had a perfect 7th. Here's the 2-0 to Worth. It's low, 3-0. Jason Worth with 24 home runs during the regular season. And look from pitching coach Jim Hickey with his head off to the side as he's watched Bradford run the count to 3-0 after the Rays just tied it. Worth on 3-0 takes ball 4, and the go-ahead run is on. And that will be the last pitch that Bradford throws here tonight. An inning plus. A walk, no strikeouts or hits. Howell coming in with Utley coming up in a tie game, 8th inning. If you are just joining us, what have you been doing on this Saturday night? World Series Game 3, the start of which was delayed by an hour and a half because of torrential rain that looked a lot like that. In fact, that's actually what fell here. Looks like snow before the game. That's rain. Utley and Howard with back-to-back home runs in the 6th. And B.J. Upton with 3 steals in this game, 4 on the night and 22 during the postseason for Tampa Bay. But the big play of the night was on the bunt hit.
Like you said, there's so much going on. I mean, if you don't see it clean into the glove, especially bare hand, like, you know, you see the glove here and he catches. That was pretty impressive.
So there you go, the play at first base that started the 7th inning, the bunt hit. Crawford should have been called out, was called safe, and the Rays went on to get 2 that inning, 1 in the top of this 8th to tie it. And now with 1 on and nobody out, J.P. Howell throws to first, and back easily is Jason Worth.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, saying that J.P. Howell has the biggest outs, has gotten the biggest outs all year, and says that he could be the most valuable player, certainly the most valuable pitcher for the Rays, in a very, very tough spot with speed at first and 2 great hitters coming up.
The power of Utley, the power of Howard. Grant Balfour getting loose for the Rays. The leadoff walk issued by Bradford. And the valuable J.P. Howell with Utley, who has driven in a run with a ground out, line to deep center, and homered here tonight. Ball up and away. This bullpen for Joe Madden has been outstanding during the postseason, with one exception, that 7-0 meltdown in Game 5 of the ALCS at Fenway. Other than that, a group ERA of 1.24. And they use them all. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's a little odd. Chase Utley taking a fastball and spotting J.P. Howell strike. Now Longoria moves from his position at third base to the position at shortstop, really toying with the mind once again of Chase Utley.
And just daring him to drop one down, or try to the left side of the infield. Worth starts and stops on ball 2 to Chase Utley. I mean, that's got to at least be tempting.
He tried it his first at bat in Game 1. The whole left side of the infield is open.
I mean, it's a tie game, bottom of the 8th.
Yeah.
Yes, he is homered, but there's the go-ahead run at first with nobody out. And the Rays have left the left side of the infield wide open.
Yep.
And Worth has about a 2-step lead over at first base. Again, what Joe Madden will tell you is go ahead and bunt. He's homered tonight. He homered in Game 1. Time called at the plate prior to the throw over. We said this the other night with Kazmir. Howell is paying a lot of attention to a guy with a small lead at first when you've got a guy at the plate who can pound the baseball waiting for your next pitch.
The whole expression in baseball, it's a guy with the stick in his hand who can beat you.
Runner goes. Utley shows bunt. Worth steals second.
You will rarely see a hitter take a pitch with 1 strike. Utley was willing to go to 2 strikes, knowing somehow that Worth had a good jump. And it's tough to do when you're a left-handed hitter. Talk about instincts for the game. Worth had 20 of 21 during the season. And steals second base, putting that bat right in the eyes of Deanna Navarro.
And that was Longoria, the third baseman, taking the throw at second. And now the count's 3-1 on Utley. Full count. So Howell, in paying that much attention to the runner at first, didn't hold him close enough. And then fell behind. Utley 3-1. Now it's a full count. Opponents, by the way, were 10 for 13 stealing against J.P. Howell during the regular season. And Worth just came up with a big one for Philadelphia here with nobody out in the 8th.
Now remember, that stolen base was after Howell had thrown over there 3 times. So the Phillies have something on J.P. Howell. Great scouting right there. And Worth took advantage of it.
The Rays used the speed of B.J. Upton to tie this game. The running game has helped their cause here in the 8th for Philly, and now a big strikeout of Utley, who chased it. He's out number 1.
It looked like a breaking ball to get Chase Utley. Breaking ball out of the strike zone, way out of the strike zone. And Utley down. Big out.
And now Ryan Howard again steps right into the spotlight. Howard is 1 out of 3 with a home run back in the 6th. Took a breaking ball from Matt Garza and rode it out to right after Utley went deep. That made it 4-1 Philadelphia. Now it's 4-4. Strike 1.
Boy, Jason Worth with an idea about going to third base. You could see Jason Bartlett standing on second base, almost like a first baseman would hold him on. But Worth an idea about stealing third.
Deanna Navarro was just pointing out to the second base bag after that first pitch to Howard. Bartlett right on top of it, trying to hold Worth as close as he can. And a throw back. Worth is picked off. He made a false move to third, gets picked off, and now the bases are empty, 2 away.
When he broke, Howell broke right there. And Jason Worth picked off second base.
So he's been doubled off first base in this series on a fly ball to right, and now picked off for the second out here in the bottom of the 8th, out at second base.
Only the second pickoff for Howell all year. But boy, did it come at a good time for the Rays.
With the bases empty, Ryan Howard comes up empty. It's 0-2.
I think Howell turned the wrong way. From a pitcher's standpoint, he turned to his left, which makes it very, very difficult to throw to second base because you're almost throwing across your body. But Worth is out at second base. So Upton steals third and Worth doesn't. You could see the high leg kick getting Worth off the bag and then the throw behind him to get him.
Boy, the Rays would carry all of the momentum going into the 9th inning. After tying it in the top of the 8th on the throwing error by Ruiz. Trying to get around a leadoff walk and a stolen base here in the bottom of the 8th. The Phillies had a runner at second, nobody out. Now the bases are empty, 2 out. And Howard fouls it back and had a good swing. The key pitch was that 3-2 delivery for the strikeout of Chase Utley. Howell got him to chase it. That was out number 1, and then the pickoff. Here's that big pitch that Utley went after and missed.
Chase it he did. A ball way out of the strike zone.
Brad Lidge now standing and watching as Howard takes high. Romero is in the game at the moment for Philadelphia, and for the Rays in the 9th it'll be Navarro, Gross, and Bartlett. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Now 2-2.
Ryan Howard with 14 home runs against left-handed pitching during the regular season.
Third most in baseball behind his teammate Jason Worth and Ryan Ludwig of the St. Louis Cardinals. Got him looking. Howell gets around the leadoff walk by Bradford. And this game, game 3, remains tied as we go to the 9th inning. Breaking ball freezes Howard. Off to the 9th we go.
I love steak.
J.C. Romero finished off the top of the 8th, and now he works to Deoner Navarro, who tries to bunt his way on with Feliz deep at third. Strike 1. Navarro with a big hit tonight for Tampa Bay. After the bunt hit by Crawford started the 7th, he doubled down the left field line, set up second and third, and the Rays scored both those runs to make it a 1-run game. That's foul. Strike 2. And then in the top of the 8th inning, an infield hit by Upton. A steal of second, a steal of third. He scored on a throwing error during that steal to tie it. Phillies just missed a chance in the bottom of the 8th. A leadoff walk to Worth, stole second, was picked off after a strikeout of Utley. Then Howard struck out. And so it's the bottom of the order for each side here in the 9th. The 0-2. He went around, and that's out number 1. So the first strikeout for J.C. Romero.
Breaking ball by Romero and a great block by Ruiz. That saves a runner being on at first base. That was a terrific block of a 58.5-foot breaking ball.
Here's Gabe Gross. Joe Madden sticks with Gross. Lefty on lefty. He has Baldelli on his bench. Zobrist, a switch hitter, but he stays with Gross, ball 1. Gabe doesn't have a hit tonight, but he has 2 RBIs. A sac fly in the 2nd, a ground out in the 7th. But just 2 for his last 40 with 3 RBIs since September 20th. Only 1 hit this postseason. 2-0. On deck is the number 8 man, Bartlett. The 2-0 pitch. Good fastball from J.C. Romero. Picked up for being let go by the Boston Red Sox, and after showing his abilities here with Philadelphia has been inked to a contract extension. Left-handers are hard to find, let alone guys who can throw in the mid-90s. Here's a 2-1. Broken bat, ground ball to the right side. Utley picks it up, gets the out, 2 away. This Keys to Success checklist for the World Series on Fox, sponsored by the movie Yes Man, starring Jim Carrey. Jamie Moyer, ageless. He was terrific through 6 1/3. The Phillies go deep twice in the 6th, back-to-back, Utley and Howard. But it was B.J. Upton's speed in the top of the 8th inning that tied it. An infield hit. He stole second, stole third, and scored as the ball got away from Phillies in the third base bag to make it 4-4. And now with 2 out, nobody on, here's Bartlett. And there's ball 1.
Bartlett with only 1 home run this year. That was during the regular season. But a .379 hitter. That was the best in the American League. That's against left-handed pitching.
And if he can extend this top of the 9th inning as the count evens 1-1, Ben Zobrist, who's been a hot hitter for Tampa Bay, is in the on-deck circle. He would bat for Howell. Here's a 1-1 from Romero. Strike 2.
Pitch to hit then.
Ruiz continues to show how fundamentally sound he is behind the plate as the count evens at 2.
Both catchers, Navarro and Ruiz, just outstanding.
And Ruiz is from
Panama.
And Tiana Navarro is from
Venezuela.
The 2-2 pitch. Full count. Joe Madden studying his lineup card. Charlie Manuel just watching through that fencing in front of the dugout. Here's a 3-2 pitch. And a foul that hurt on a chilly night here in Philadelphia.
Looked like Jason wearing that half shin guard on his left foot. And that foul ball did not hit him on the left shin guard. Walking around trying to ease the pain. Base hits the best solution for that.
Another 3-2 pitch from Romero. To the shortstop, Rollins gets a true hop, gets the out. Game 3 is tied going into the bottom of the 9th inning with Bruntlett, Victorino, and Feliz coming up. Tied at 4. J.P. Howell struck out the only 2 hitters he faced in the 8th inning. Also picked Jason Worth off at second base. And now here in the bottom of the 9th inning, it's his job to get it to the 10th with Bruntlett, Victorino, and Feliz coming up. Eric Bruntlett will step to the plate for the first time tonight. The last time he was at the plate, he took the first pitch from David Price and rode the ball out of the park in St. Pete in the top of the 8th. He took over for a defensive switch, really, because he's a little quicker in the outfield. Took over for Pat Burrell in the 7th. And he finally gets his first at bat here in the bottom of the 9th. Here he was in game 2, taking David Price out. First pitch to Bruntlett here is down for ball 1. Really was no small home run for a man with a gigantic beard. As Grant Balfour gets loose now in the bullpen again for Tampa Bay. Bruntlett's home run made it 4-2, and the game ended with Howard up, representing the tying run at the plate. You can hear the home plate umpire, Field and Colbreth, say that's a ball. It's 2-0. Strike 1. We're told that Shane Victorino on deck was in the batting cage the entire bottom of the 8th while the Phillies were batting, getting ready for his next at bat. He will follow Bruntlett. And Bruntlett is hit to start the 9th.
I wonder if Shane Victorino was in the batting cage bunting, because that's what he's going to be required to do right here, one would think, as Bruntlett is hit by a pitch.
So Howell is finished. He goes 1 inning, no runs yet, 2 strikeouts, and we're going to have a double switch. Balfour will come in, Victorino will come up, and we'll have a double switch as Joe Madden talks to Field and Colbreth about what he wants to do. Probably the right fielder will be switched. The number 7 hitter, that's where the pitcher will bat. And then Zobrist or Baldelli will take over in right and bat in the number 9 spot. So the double switch for Joe Madden here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Balfour takes over. Victorino coming up. Well, it is 1:37 or so on the scoreboard clock, and there are very few who have left here in Philadelphia. They have waited 15 years for the World Series to come back to Philly, and they're taking in every second of this. And why not? It's a good game. It may be late, but it's a good game. 4-4, bottom of the 9th inning. Leadoff man is on. Balfour is into the game. Ben Zobrist is in right. The pitcher will bat in the number 7 spot. Zobrist will hit 9th. But the focus now is on the combination of Grant Balfour, who is constantly talking to himself, yelling at himself on the mound, and Shane Victorino, who dropped down 5 sacrifice bunts during the regular season. The Rays are expecting it. We'll see if they get it. Bruntlett, the winning run at first with nobody out.
Well, they might get it, but I don't know if I'd sacrifice here with Pedro Feliz on deck.
Strike 1.
If you get the runner over, the Phillies are 1 for 32 with runners in scoring position. They have not driven in a run with runners in scoring position in 3 games. So you're bunting a guy over, and then if you use Dobbs to pinch hit for Feliz, they're going to walk him and pitch to Ruiz.
Plus they're giving up one of their best hitters.
Right.
That one gets away. It kicks right back to Navarro, whose throw goes into center. Bruntlett will go to third, and there's the winning run 90 feet away.
The best laid plans of mice and men and managers to bunt. Wild pitch. Wild throw. Winning run on at third.
Good base running by Bruntlett. That ball kicked perfectly back to Navarro, which led DeHonor to think he had a shot at Bruntlett. Even a good throw doesn't get him. And in the end, it sails into center field, and Bruntlett hops up, goes to third. And now with first and second base open, they'll walk at the very least Victorino. And then we'll see what they do with Phillies, but the winning run is 90 feet away at third. Eric Bruntlett with nobody out. And the Phillies have an opportunity to win Game 3 of the World Series by doing what they've struggled to do so far in this set against the Rays, and that is produce a run from third base with less than 2 out, which they did in the first inning tonight. But they have really struggled when they've had a chance to push one across. And here comes Joe Madden out to talk. There is nobody getting loose in the bullpen. And Joe Madden hears something from Dave Martinez before he crosses the white line and goes out for the meeting on the mound.
You know what Joe Madden may do? He may walk Greg Dobbs, who's been announced as the pinch hitter for Phillies, and then use a 5-man infield. He's done that before. Used a 5-man infield for Carlos Ruiz. You don't know what Joe Madden's going to do. Very unconventional. He's calling in someone. I think he's calling in Zobrist, the right fielder, who used to be an infielder. So I think a 5-man infield is going to be employed by Joe Madden, as he may be telling Zobrist, go get your infielder's glove. Get rid of your outfielder's glove. I want to use 5 men in the infield and 2 men in the outfield. Walk Greg Dobbs and take your chances with the bases loaded and nobody out.
And this will be an opportunity then, theoretically. And you can see now Madden talking to his 2 outfielders from a distance. You've got Dobbs coming up, then Ruiz, and I'll say Ruiz has had very good at-bats in this World Series to this point.
The best at-bats for the Phillies in the last 2 games. That's right. I don't think there's any way you can pitch to Dobbs, however.
No. Phillies was 0 for 3. Dobbs will be the pinch hitter for Pedro Phillies here in the 9th. Now Navarro's going to go out and talk again. We're just out there for 3 minutes. The crowd is saying we've been here long enough. Let's see it.
So you have a third baseman, shortstop, and I don't know what you call that guy. He's the right fielder playing up the middle, second baseman, and first baseman. So you have 5 in the infield, 2 in the outfield, playing very shallow.
And you've got Crawford in left, Upton more in right center, but he's extremely shallow. And right field is wide open, but they're going to walk Dobbs. And then it's Ruiz. There's nobody out in the inning. And Charlie Manuel, just so you know, still has Matt Stairs on his bench, so Taguchi and Chris Coast. But we've seen Ruiz have some of the better at-bats of anybody in a Philly uniform. And he may get his chance to win Game 3 of the World Series. Back-to-back intentional walks to load the bases. And Ruiz will be the man on the spot. He's homered tonight. He has walked. He's grounded out.
Joe, I cannot remember a World Series game that included a 5-man infield ever. May have happened before our time.
Ruiz went deep in the second to make it 2-1. Phillies led 4-1. The Rays tied it with 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. It's 4-4, bottom of the 9th. Stairs is on deck. There's nobody out. The infield is in. The outfield has only 2 players in it. They're shallow. And it's a battle between Grant Balfour and Carlos Ruiz, who hit .219 during the regular season. Ball 1. After a high fastball, it's 1-1. Ruiz in game 2 had 2 walks, 2 doubles. Tonight, a home run, a walk. And Balfour, who was actually sent to the minor leagues during the season and had to pass through waivers to get there successfully and then called back and took off out of the bullpen for the Rays, is trying to somehow send this game to the 10th. Too much heat, 96, and strike 2.
That's why Balfour's in there and no left-hander is warming up. Joe Madden looking for the strikeout. Realistically, a ground ball. The odds are against it.
Ruiz fights it off. It has been 15 years and 4 days since the Phillies last had a World Series victory here in this city. It came behind Curt Schilling, a 2-0 win over Toronto, a 5-hit shutout, 5 singles allowed that night. Phillies lost that series to Toronto, trying to take tonight a 2-1 series lead over the Rays. Ruiz is trying to do it. Two and 2. Everything has been up from Balfour, which, if Ruiz can put the wood on one of those pitches up, could lead to a sacrifice fly or something deep enough to win the game.
On the other hand, fastballs up are Balfour's strikeout pitch.
Chop to third. Play at the plate. Phillies take game 3. You talk about a weird 9th inning. The only time the baseball left the infield was on the throw from Dioner Navarro to second.
That's right.
A hit batsman, a wild pitch, a throwing error, 2 intentional walks, and then this little squibber up the third baseline that Longoria couldn't do anything with.
A grounder 45 feet for the win.
After an hour-and-a-half delay at the start, a 3-hour, 41-minute game 3 that's won by Philadelphia on that chopper hit by Carlos Ruiz. And the Phillies are up 2-1. Let's go down to the field and check in with Chris Myers.
Joe, I'm with Ryan Howard, and the Philly fans are going fanatical. They waited a long time and into Sunday. First of all, take us through the range of emotions for a finish like this.
You know what? It's crazy. It was an up and down game. It was a hard fought game by both teams, and I mean it came down to the last pitch. And you know, this is the kind of World Series that you dream of being in, and it's a little nerve-wracking, but to come out with a victory like that, it's great.
What did you think of the 5-man infield? Did you ever see anything like that in this?
I don't know. They look like they're about to blitz. You know, I've seen it from this team before where they've had, they've brought in guys in or had another guy go out to the outfield. But, you do what you got to do in order to try to either get in the guy's head or make the play.
I know it's a cold night. You're warming up. You hit the long ball, obviously, in back-to-back. You feel a little better out there?
Yeah, just trying to take it all in stride and just, I had some good swings tonight, even though, I didn't really show a whole lot for it. But, it's steadily getting a little bit better and, right on the verge.
All right, and the Phillies are up 2-1. And thanks for staying up late with us. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
You
All right. Later tonight. Thanks, Ryan Howard. Let's go over to Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Chris. We're here with Eric Bruntlett. Eric, you scored the winning run. Squibber by Carlos Ruiz. What was your thought process there?
Well, it's bases loaded, so obviously anything on the ground, I'm going. As soon as it was hit, knew I had a chance to score. It was hit, one of those balls is soft enough that, since I'm thinking going on the ground all the way, I got a pretty good jump on it and was able to beat it out.
You start the inning, you come up to the plate. Obviously, the last thing you're probably expecting is to get hit.
Yeah, that's not what I had in mind. You're looking for any way to get on base, and I'll certainly take that. Obviously, it worked out real well for us, but, that wasn't my thought. I'll take it.
Shane comes up to bunt. What happened there?
Well, it threw the wild pitch, and so immediately I started taking off for second. And when I turn back around, I see the ball carry him off back to Navarro, and he's coming up to make a play at second base. So I think it bounced right back to him. And obviously the ball got away, and he was able to get to third as well. But that's, kind of a crazy play that could have worked against us. Ended up giving us 2 bases, so it worked out well for us. We got a lot of good fortune that inning.
Home run in game 2, winning run tonight. Eric, thank you very much. Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny, thank you. A 3-hour, 41-minute game that's won 5-4 by Philadelphia. Romero, the winner, J.P. Howell, the loser, and the Phillies are now up 2-1. Our Chevrolet player of the game is Jamie Moyer. He was in line for the win until the bullpen could not hang on. His performance was everything Philly fans wished for and then some. Go to worldseries.com/Chevy to score a virtual game ticket for your chance at a VIP trip to next summer's baseball all-star game in St. Louis. Let's go back down to the field for a chat with Jamie Moyer. Take it away.
Jamie, the crowd is chanting your name. 2 tough starts in the postseason before this. What changed tonight?
I tried to put those starts behind me. I've had many starts like that in my career and, just move forward. And, we're facing a different team, a new team. On a bigger stage, and went out and gave it my best.
You're from the area. You attended the 1980 World Series celebration. You've played an awfully long time. Where does this moment rank in your career?
It's the top. To be able to have the opportunity to pitch in a World Series here in Philadelphia, and for us to win Game 3, to go up 2-1 in the series. It's still going to be a battle this series, but it's exciting, obviously, for our fans and for us as a club, and they're a good ball club on the other side, so it's going to be a battle.
Jamie, thank you very much.
Right,
Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny, and thanks to Jamie Moyer for joining us. What a night he had tonight. 6 1/3, 3 runs, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, a walk. Doesn't get a win, but the Phillies do. We are not finished. We'll come back and wrap up after a word from your local Fox station. Welcome to the Chevy postgame show on Fox. Chevy, an American Revolution. We welcome you back, and the final score 5-4 Phillies. What a thrilling ninth inning it was, and either team could have won this game. Heck, either team could have won any of the first 3 games. This game produced by Pete Macheska, directed by Bill Webb. Pre-game show produced by Don Bowie and directed by Rich Russo. Our associate producer Carol Langley McDermott. Our associate directors Aaron Stoikov, Larry Lancaster, Kathy Hunt. Our thanks, of course, to Steve Horner, editorial consultant here in the booth. The senior producer of Fox Sports, Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Tomorrow, Fox NFL Sunday returns with a doubleheader. Beginning with the tough Buccaneers defense looking to shut down Terrell Owens, and the Cowboys are the Falcons and the Eagles right across the street, plus other regional action. Then Eli Manning and the Giants take on Big Ben and the Steelers. The Seahawks and 49ers coverage begins with the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox. Game 4 probables later on tonight at 8 Eastern. It's Joe Blanton and Andy Sonnenstein. And that matchup of two right-handers, 13-9 against 9-12. And we remind you that that game will start at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. We say good night, good morning, wherever you are from Philadelphia. For Tim and